Hi, I'm the sage stick you burned in your crazy roommate's room after she moved out 'cause she left bad juju. Randy.
Darcy.
Darcy?
I thought Connie was next.
Oh, man.
Motherfucker, you said Connie next.
We're off to
All right. Hi, I'm the lone bag of store-brand candy still left in the Halloween clearance section in mid-November, Darcy.
That's good.
Hi, I'm that little piece of flesh that you peel off your lip in the winter. You can't pull it all the way off because it hurts too much, but it's not really attached to you anymore. That's me. I'm Connie.
And I'm the actual real-life woman who is man enough for your Borkita, Melody.
Yeah.
Woo!
And welcome to another episode of Mistresses Mayhem, HHN 27 Postmortem Edition.
Postmortem.
I had to throw in postmortem.
It's a good word. I'm liking it.
Great.
True. Good vocabulary usage already.
I know, aren't we so good? Okay, so we are obviously missing one of our other members tonight. Shelby is off having fun adventures, and she will hopefully be joining us next time, so we miss her a lot.
Died. Tragically. Sorry, Shelby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Rest
Enjoy the
in
afterlife.
peace.
You could go live with Bone now.
Bone Daddy.
If Shelby were in Festival of the Deadliest, she would be that one skeleton that was like a prop on the center stage that was taking off his own head.
Oh my god,
that
yes.
guy.
What a
My
movie.
favorite.
That's who she
He's
would be.
losing his head every night.
And I would be the big columns where the head is giant and the body is very, very small.
That also shoot fire out of the top.
Yes.
Those are nice.
It's
I would
really
be
pure
those-
bad dummy proportions.
Yeah.
Also, there was that one character that was up on the stage a lot. Her name was Megan. I only know that because she was in Horror Story last year. But her character's name was Trouble. And her knife, the end of her knife was a cat skull.
Ooh.
Love it.
Every time I go through the zone, I'd be like, "How's your cat?" Or I'd be like, "How's your pussy?" And she'd show me her knife, and it was great.
So,
All right. So we're here to talk about our thoughts and feelings on Halloween Horror Nights 27.
Fuck, I thought this was Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah, for real.
it's really the same sort of thing.
So let's get into it. So some overall
Let's
thoughts.
get right into the news.
Yes, that exactly. Okay, so this year was full of ups and downs and in-betweens. Mostly in-betweens.
Well, every house is
True.
better than the in-between.
That is also
that's
true.
fair. I did not even realize I did that.
Actually, that's not true. In-between is well received. It was Afterlife that everybody...
You're right.
The joke presented itself, and I took it.
But then you wrote it, like talking.
Listen, I just don't want to be clocked for not knowing what I'm talking about. I do
Oh.
know what I'm talking about.
Okay, I'll give you that.
So we had some really strong houses this year. We had some really strong scare zones this year. But we also had a weirdly... What?
Some.
I said
Strong
some. I didn't say
scare
all. So it felt like it was a really... It felt very different in a lot of ways, even from the speculation season that we had with it, where we had nothing for months at a time.
And then we just got everything.
And then we got everything.
Way too much. Was not ready emotionally, or physically, or spiritually, or metaphorically.
Metaphorically.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very weird. Also, alcohol.
Ugh. Oh, God, more of it. Full offense to Universal Studios. But I got drunk off of one drink at Hallow Scream this year, and I was not wasted a single time I was at Universal.
Yeah.
And I tried.
I went to Horror Nights one night, and Victor and I want to say we got 6 mixed drinks throughout the night. Really felt buzzed. At Hallow Scream, trashed after 2, and then I was like, let's do a 3rd, and it was amazing. Like, the drinks were terrible, and, well, not terrible, they tasted great, but they just tasted like Kool-Aid with like a splash of vodka.
I mean, yeah, they're tasty.
The freaking, you can't get any other drinks at the bars, which is stupid, because then you just have everyone queuing up at Finnegan's.
I was about to say that Finnegan's queue was probably the longest queue this year.
Yeah.
I said probably.
Yeah, probably.
I feel like you underestimate the line for the final Bill and Ted.
Okay.
Yeah, that too.
I don't think about Bill and Ted all the time like some other people, so.
Ooh, yes. Pour that tea. Cast that shade, bitch.
You know.
Oh.
Yes. I feel like at any given point.
You just watered my crops and grew my hair with that shade.
Oh, thanks. I feel like at any given point, the queue for a beer at Finnegan's was probably longer than, like, Saw.
No, Saw actually had... Fun fact, Saw actually kept some of the longest wait times this year because of their poor ops team and the fact that people would just stand there and wait for the traps to go off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mine was
They carried one of the longest lines of the entire event.
That's interesting.
Short lines this year, Ash.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which was great for me.
Walk-in.
I could just walk in and go again, and then go again, and then go again, and then just keep going until they start yelling at me for coming back so many times. That happened many times.
Good. If they don't want you to leave, you're not there enough.
That's true. That's real. That's like a bona fide fact.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into it. We're going to go through all of the houses and scare zones. We're going to give them all their 2 minutes of fame. And
that's it.
Talk about some of our favorite moments and cool shit that happened this year.
All right, let's do this.
All right, so let's start with some scare zones. I feel like that's a good little appetizer.
Right.
So the first one on our list is the infamous and totally amazing Trick or Treat.
Oh my god!
Am I right, ladies?
100%.
This is what the event needed last year and every year.
And every year for the rest of forever, please.
Yeah.
We cannot
bring
forget
back
our
Trick or
lovely
Treat.
Halloween roots. And Trick or Treat is the best mix of like traditional Halloween, good times, and scariness.
Yeah.
True.
We need some orange every year.
Such a faithful adaptation of the movie as well. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, when
Perfection.
I first walked through there when they were putting the doors up and stuff and the props, I was like, okay, I definitely like recognize what most of this is.
Yeah.
But how is this going to come together? Is it just going to be all the random characters from the movie walking around? And then it was, and it was amazing.
Yes.
Bad. It was perfect. The only thing that was missing was like Rhonda. I wish Rhonda had been in the zone.
Oh, yeah,
Other than
that-
that,
I was consistently so blown away. This zone photographs beautifully. Every picture of it was stunning. All video footage was incredible. Like so many fun like touches from the movie. The characters looked amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Principal Wilkins. Like the sound cues, the stilt walker guy was totally amazing.
both of them. Both
of them. You're right. There's
both
two.
casts.
I'm sorry.
We always forget about the skeleton man because, like,
No, he hangs around so good.
Mr.
so much.
Top Hat
Yeah.
guy is
Everyone
just
thought
a
he was fucking
legend.
fake.
Uh-huh.
My personal, again, for our podcast audience, I was not able to attend this year, but I did do my quick video review. So please take everything I say with a grain of salt. I did not get to experience it in person, but still very near and dear to my heart.
Also, don't downplay
get
your
you.
opinions because you have a pretty good idea of what you're talking about.
That's true. I wouldn't do this if I didn't. My favorite
What
moment,
he did.
my favorite secondhand moment from Trick or Treat was I think Darcy took pictures of Sam trying to knock on the doors and get candy.
Oh my god, he was trying to trick or treat and nobody was answering. And then stilts were down because it had rained. And so the Top Hat guy comes over and he's like ringing the bell to try and get someone to come to the door. And nobody did. And then he hugged Sam.
Cuteness and murder.
It was so sad.
Honestly, somebody should
Let him trick or treat.
Someone should edit together footage of Sam to be like an ASPCA, like sad dog commercial.
Oh my god.
They call me your forever child.
Yeah.
Oh, like the sky in that zone. Ceiling pumpkins. All the tree ceiling pumpkins were,
Oh boy.
and their faces.
Yes.
Where they at? Where my children? I
Well,
face
I have.
3 children.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just want to say face ceiling tree children.
Oh. Lots of incredible moments in trick or treat across my multiple and plentiful nights off. Excuse me. And one truly stands out above all others. Let's see. It was Halloween. It was Halloween night.
Mm-hmm.
Technically after Halloween because it was 12:30, but you know what? Whatever. And I went through trick or treat one more time. That was my last time to ever go through it, which ended up not being true. I ended up going, oh yeah, no, that is true. That was my last time. And I'm going through there and I'm crying. I'm crying quite profusely. This is my last time to see 2 very good friends of mine that were on the closing cast, and I gave Mr. Krieg a hug. He saw me crying and he's like, are you okay? And I said, yeah, it's my last night here. And it was his last night too.
Oh.
Embraced, and it was beautiful. I said goodbye to everybody, and I went to say one last goodbye to Principal Wilkins. I'm literally about to cry right now. And happy Halloween. And he said, happy Halloween. Always check your candy. And he gave me a piece of candy.
Oh my god. Yes.
Well, first of all, don't eat
He was
that.
doing that on the last night as well. He had a giant bucket of lollipops that he just had with him, and he was
he'd been
handing
given
out
3 pieces of candy from guests, and he saved them to give to people he thought deserved it.
Oh.
He gave one to a tiny girl, he gave one to me, and he kept one.
And I mean, like, consider this possibility. He poisoned them.
I haven't eaten it yet. This is going to sound so gross, but I kept it. So
No, don't eat it.
I haven't eaten mine either.
yeah, but Principal Wilkins, I don't think you listen to this, but you know who you are, and you made my life.
Yes, he was amazing.
Yes. So trick or treat, a definite highlight for everyone this year.
Oh, by far the best scare zone. I mean, and I'm not talking about personal enjoyment or it just came together in a way that none of the others did. It was cohesive from beginning to end. It was accurate, and it is not a controversial statement that it is one of the best scare zones I've ever seen.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Very well thought out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that mask was blinding, so bless all of those young ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Not see out of that. I don't know how you could possibly be that cute and likable in a zone and also not be able to see.
Yeah, that is true.
All right, moving right on. So the next one I have written down. Wait, what?
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 No. I'm so confused.
Me too. I thought somebody said something.
Yeah.
I did. I said moving right along. It was
Oh.
Okay, we were segueing either way. This year, we are 15 minutes in, and okay, moving right along then to Festival of the Deadliest.
Festival of the Banshees. I mean, Lair of the Deadliest. I mean, fuck.
Festival Fantasy?
That's it. I thought it was Festival of the Deadliest.
Festival of the Deadliest.
Just the one, though.
No,
not a cardigan in sight. I was so disappointed.
Rocky was a daddy.
I mean, you're right.
And then Rocky was also a daddy, but
yeah.
Not as much as Rocky. Also, that one long-legged guy that would lift his knees.
Oh, I love that long-legged man. He walks so good. He's all like, knee chest, spook.
That's going to be our t-shirt when we eventually make t-shirts. Knee chest,
spook.
So this was one a lot of people had mixed feelings about, and it was also the one that probably got hit the hardest by any of the hurricane trauma that happened. There were set pieces that were rolled out weeks into the event.
The first night, it was literally nothing.
Yeah, it was just people walking around.
It was so uncomfortable to be in. I was like, what is this trash?
I don't know. Was there even like scenic lighting? Was it just dark?
Yes, there was lighting.
There was some lighting, but not enough. You couldn't really see anything.
I literally remember people being like, I couldn't see it.
I also hated the final lighting package that ended up there because it was just red.
Yeah.
It was so red, and it drained any color out of the costumes.
I was about to say, they did, by the end of the event, there were some really interesting costumes going on there. I feel like we never got to see them because it just didn't look right.
Yeah, it was dark and red in there. I liked, the masks were good. I liked all the skull masks and stuff.
Oh my god.
I liked that.
Sorry,
most
staffs?
of the full-headed skull masks.
The staffs
Go ahead.
that they were carrying, those were all, I cannot describe to you how beautiful and intricate they are, but I'm sure there are photos that can do a better job than my mouth words.
Yeah.
But Jesus Christ on a stick.
Literally a stick, like a staff.
Yeah. Literally a stick.
Weapons were good. There was some good detail in the masks and the props. Bone had a lot of detail. I liked the escorts. Were sort of this. I didn't care for the cheek prosthetics. I thought the forehead prosthetics were cool, although apparently the prosthetics were a lot more comfortable. So each his own.
Well, that's understandable because you sweat more where those are.
Also, the one dancer that I talked to the most had bangs on her wig, and so she never wanted the forehead prosthetic. You have to pin the bangs back.
Yeah.
But the dancers, I know that Horror Nights has done that many times in the past, but also, 2005.
Particularly Hollywood.
2005 and 2017 are different places when it comes to guest behavior. And having we're not going to say strippers because they weren't actually taking their clothes off. Pole dancers. Having actual legitimate pole dancers out in the open like that, bad idea.
Yeah.
Bad idea. Also, when they put a lesbian up there, extra bad idea. Why did you guys do that? I know they didn't know, but why would you do that?
Yeah.
So people who had issues in that zone were able to have them resolved.
Yeah.
So my personal secondhand highlight for the scare zone was I was blown away by the fact that they had a pregnant scare actor in the zone.
Yeah, she was cool. She was reserved.
She was slaying my life with the "Let Me Out" written on her stomach.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that so cool! Like the way that they incorporated it with
that zone is that it was completely incoherent. I didn't care for the costumes, didn't care for the music, although there was one song I really liked.
I actually dug the music in that zone. So
there were some really, really solid performances. People just coming up with really interesting backstories and mannerisms for the characters, even though they were not given any information. I mean, the dancers, literally, if they were asked why they were dancing, the only response they were allowed to give is, "I dance for bone." Like, this is not
the Bone Daddy Harem Zone.
That is the only backstory that they were given, is if anyone asks you anything, I dance for bone. So thankfully, they all came up with a little bit more beyond that.
Are you sure that's what you want? Don't you just want I dance for bones?
I mean, that's what Jessie would do to like douchebags that would bother her. They'd be like, "Hey, sexy, how you doing? I dance for bone," and she would say that until they left.
Perfect.
Oh my god.
Legendary. But yeah, it was. I just felt like maybe if AOV had panned out the way it was supposed to, that zone would have made more sense. But I feel like honestly,
but it didn't.
If it had, they would have been aesthetically linked, but it still would not have made any sense. What the fuck is Bone? Is he a demon? Is he Satan? No, because he's the fallen prime in the fallen house.
He's the deadliest.
Bone.
The deadliest. That's right.
He's having a baby. I actually, this is where I wanted to bring up. So the festival is kind of supposed to be our icon scare zone. Bones is sort of our guy this year. AOV was supposed to tie in, but didn't because they never got on their stage for the show because of Irma.
The most lit shit in the world.
What?
AOV.
Oh no, we're gonna get there, and I have nothing but good things to say.
All right.
I don't want to blow all my good words right now, but the amount of hard work and just showmanship that those guys have and their dedication to getting out there and going for it is incredible. Even in the face of, they came up with that show in like 2 days that they ended up doing.
Because the finger of God fucked them up.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that being said, Festival to me is one that I couldn't hate because at least it was an original idea, which was something that was kind of crazy with these scare zones because we had a whole one that was literally just characters that were at other parts of the event.
Yeah.
On that basis, but I also, it's so easy to see like the shortcomings in it because it was supposed to be something else, because it was supposed to be this other thing.
Right.
Cough, cough, hive. I figured out what one of the scares would have been in that house had it stayed The Conjuring last week, and I almost threw something.
Yeah, I've been crying
so
ever since
mad.
you made that tweet, Darcy, because I also never made that connection. But then when you made that tweet, the moment I read it, I was like, oh my God.
Do y'all want to tell me what it was, or can we not do that on the air?
And we probably
We
can.
can do it on the air.
I'm pretty sure that the stilt scare in Hive was supposed to be the Crooked Man from The Conjuring 2. And that's my favorite part of the entire franchise, and I'm so mad.
I'm upset.
Yeah, I also never made that connection, but as soon as she said, I think I know what the stilts were supposed to be, I was like, oh my God, I know another daddy long legs.
This is such a tangent, but I firmly believe that when The Conjuring comes, that's gonna be the Crooked Man is the closest we're ever gonna get to gay icon, the Babadook.
Oh my God.
Yes!
I'll take it.
Actual question, is there a reason other than it doesn't have enough material that the Babadook would never come to Horror Nights?
I just think it's maybe it's kind of become cult famous, but they really like to play, and I have to say this in a year where we had Saw instead of It, which I know is crazy, but they kind of tend to play on things that are recent, especially now.
Yeah, I guess.
Or are bona fide classics. The Shining's not new, but people have been wanting to see it for, ever.
I would say since Horror Nights started doing IPs, most likely.
Absolutely. Same thing with
Exorcist.
Right, or Texas Chainsaw, which isn't new and hasn't had a sequel in a really long time.
Ever since Murder House aired, people have wanted Horror Story.
The Babadook is popular, but is it even on the level?
It's popular in the wrong way at this
to
point.
me, I think it's a wonderful movie.
It's only scary to homophobes.
If we could take a tangent onto how we would make it into a house, would the scares just be a lot of oh, it might? Would it just be Australian? A lot of wardrobes and coats. A lot of coats.
A lot of coats.
Boy,
I don't know if you guys have seen.
I would love to see a scare zone of characters that wear long coats.
Yes.
I'm attracted to trench coats. I literally talked about this with my roommates.
Because literally already you've got what's his name from Jeepers Creepers, you've got the Babadook, you've got the Ghoul.
Pinhead,
we've got a roster already begun. Oh, Bloody Face had a long coat.
That's true.
Just long coat scare zone. It's just called
Festival of the Coatiest.
So the long legs, those are edited.
You just need
walkers with long coats.
And then some of them could just be three kids stacked on top of each other trying to get into a movie theater.
The dude from BoJack Horseman that's just a child in a trench coat.
Amazing.
The real horror, mental illness.
Oh.
Okay,
right, moving on.
We have to move on. We're gonna be stuck here forever, but yes, if we ever got to see the Babadook, I would love it. Moving on to Invasion.
Invasion, god damn it. I have a lot of feelings on this scare zone.
I love this zone. It's great. I don't think it's really scary.
Oh wait,
absolutely
I'm sorry. This is super. We gotta go back to Festival super fast. It's the only scare zone where I've ever kissed his character on the mouth in his mask.
Oh wow.
Amazing.
That was worth going back to it for.
Yes, it was really sweet.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Probably where I knew the most people. So I would go there all the time to see people. I'd always have an amazing time getting the love from my homies, but I didn't love the scare zone. Anyways, Invasion, alien, spooky, moving on.
Yeah. It's definitely the one where the least people got scared, but the most people had fun.
Oh,
hell yes.
Stand by that car and just dance to that music. Just dance.
That was literally all I did was like, I'd show up to Horror Nights, I'd go over there, I'd stand by the car for 45 minutes, I'd go to houses, I'd stand by the car for 45 minutes, I'd go to houses, I'd stand by the car for 45 minutes. It was great.
I'm always amazed at how talented scare actors are because they're in the bulkiest makeup and clothes. You know, they cannot talk to you. They're having the most fun with guest interactions in this zone.
They are, and they all hated it too.
Those costumes supposed to be a bitch. Like,
oh
It
yeah.
wasn't even the costumes. Most of them just didn't care for their zone very much because they wanted to really scare people. But they took lemons and they made lemonade and poured vodka into it. So
for
they did
real.
a good job.
Early in the year, I just remember seeing a lot of pictures of aliens with Starbucks drinks and food carts. So they
Oh yeah.
the meme zone.
Oh, absolutely.
I think every year we kind of get a meme zone or a meme with Horror Nights where they just kind of
So
I'm gonna silly with it.
I'm gonna be honest about this though. They tried to make Invasion the new Vamp 55, and I don't think they're ever gonna have something like Vamp 55 again, but they certainly tried.
I do believe there's kind of that spirit of a vamp there.
I mean, hell, it also takes place in the 50s. So,
So, did they forget that a big part of why people liked Vamp is they wanted to fuck everybody there? Like, I wanted to fuck the aliens, but I feel like I'm in the minority on that.
You're not in the minority, Melody. You know this.
There's gotta
in
be
this
no
couple,
work
I
it.
just in like general. Okay, your average person could have walked through Vamp 55 and been like, ooh, like, yes, Daddy Greaser Vampire. But I would be like, ooh, yes, Daddy Queen Alien. And, you know, not,
Daddy Queen Alien is a
your average UCF student does not feel the same as we do.
Just call out that entire school, why don't you?
I am calling out the entire school, Connie.
Very spicy.
Yeah, Invasion.
But one more thing I want to say. Invasion, I don't know what it was about the zone, but it was the perfect environment to write in, which was really great, which also led to half the actors knowing me entirely as the one that's just constantly sitting on the curb with a notebook.
You got a lot of mileage out of writing in there. Like, people, you had some stories that were just super funny. I would say the best time I had in that zone, it was me and Victor. Shout out to Victor if you're listening. We were there with another friend sitting on the bed. There's really one bench in that scare zone, so we commandeered it. And I had my Blinky cup sitting next to me. Cup, whatever. Shout out to Mikey as well. He was the friend.
What up, Mike?
It was a gray and a scientist that kept coming over to badger us, and it was the female super sassy Yas queen. Like,
oh, I know which one.
Yep. And
yes,
she kept coming over and playing with us. But the best was when a scientist came over, and I had the Blinky cup turned on, and he leaned down and he knocked it over with one of his long fingers, and I set it back up and he leaned down and knocked it over, and I set it back up and he leaned down and knocked it over, and I said, on Earth, this is what we call a cat. And we literally just kept at it. Also, the same scientist kept forcing us all to cross our arms like we were angry, or like we were the gangster pose. So every time
amazing.
We put our arms down, he would come back and do the pose, like, do it now. And so we just had to keep posing, and he kept knocking over my cup, or she, and it was absolutely hilarious.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
That is wild.
That is very, very beautiful. So yeah, props on the original concept.
And also literally props to the props, because that spaceship, honey.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, the UFO was beautiful.
I wanted to live in that UFO. I would actually be tempted to break into it.
I just wanted to spoon with the one that was pressed up against the window on the inside.
Oh yeah.
I would be the big spoon, and I would just hold him inside of there.
My favorite thing about that zone was literally from the first night. One of the soldiers would just periodically crawl on his hands and legs, like on his hands and knees,
oh my god,
and just curl into the fetal position and just rock back and forth for minutes at a time. And like, he was only there the first night, which is absolutely
that's sad.
It's a travesty.
he was the best.
Can you imagine being that extra? I aspire to be that extra.
It was so.
You know, I have a theory on that. So number one, it was either a reserve who was there just for that night.
And let me tell you, that is actually probably true because the reserves would go off and like the normal soldiers would just kind of be standing there like, run. And this guy would be running around screaming at people.
Yeah, so here's a little Horror Nights tip. If you're ever in a scare zone and you notice a character is just going way harder than the rest of the people there, they're reserve who are not there every single night. Because
there was one night where I saw, you know, the Bagul in the beginning of Blumhouse, so just kind of step out and stare at you and then step back in.
Yeah.
This fucker was like leaping out, swiping at people.
That's hilarious and not a character. I love it.
All right. Invasion, pretty cool. Moving on.
Beautiful lasers and fog. It was great.
Yeah. Greatest
them goddesses.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's move on to perennial favorite this year, kind of average, The Purge.
Woo! Purge.
Are you ready to release the beast?
Yes, Daddy, I am.
This is like the weirdest party zone. Like The Purge has turned into the party zone.
Yeah, and also it was one of the most disconcerting things in the world to be walking around and to hear little teenagers talking about how much they want to purge.
And they're not actors.
That's weird.
Oh my god, yeah, seriously. It was like it would kind of dawn on me sometimes, and Victor would always bring up sometimes, that it's just people were so evil when they would get into that zone because they just wanted to join in. Chaotically murdering strangers around them, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I actually, when The Purge was announced to be a scare zone this year, there were actually people who were concerned it was going to be cut because of, like, the world we live in or whatever. And I was like, I mean, I doubt it, but, like, it is something that seems to, like, get topical very fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so when I first started going into that zone, I sort of expected during the auction, the murder on the bus, whatever, that I would generally be the most hype one in the crowd because I would know so many people up on the bus. So, of course, I'd be down there losing my shit. Yes, kill that bitch, slay, fuck yeah! You know, I thought, oh no, strangers are like, fucking kill her! And I'm like, oh my god!
That is...
It's one thing when I'm telling people to murder my friends. To murder my friends.
These are my friends to murder. You cannot murder them. Back off.
Exactly. Oh, also, shout out to the one, the only Purge Poppy.
Yes.
The NFAA soldier to my dreams. The Scooby-Doo
the true
to my
Purge queen.
The
true
chicken
Purge
to
queen.
my nugget.
And a shout out to Miss Charlotte as well. She was crushing it.
Of course.
Oh my god. Yes. Hillary Clinton in all of her glory.
For real.
Hillary Clinton. She just kind of got used to it.
She was
killer
phenomenal.
For a woman, you know, of her age to perform so loudly and so excitedly and bombastically every single night. Amazing.
She's goals. I hope that I get to be that scary.
Yes.
God, same.
You're never too old to be scary.
Anymore.
Oh, God. Blame me every time. All right, so yeah, Purge. Some favorite elements from here. I loved the wood chipper. That was super neat.
Too.
Mm-hmm.
It was a cool element to have. Really spiced it up a little bit.
And I loved how Miss Charlotte specifically was really into, like, the Purge goes green. I think that's such a funny, like, she was making jokes about green as universal.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Like, straight up. And I think that's so funny. Oh, I loved it.
I love it too. So, and I also really loved, we had a lot of repeats from 24 Scare Zone, which, I mean, it worked, so whatever. But we also had some really amazing election year costumes. I love the Lady Liberty.
Yes.
Those aesthetics are super fun.
The end of the earth. I love, obviously, the Candy Girl, you know, with the tutu, the corset, with her car lights.
Yes.
She's great. I love the big Bear Pig. I don't think we ever settled on what he was, but I liked him.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I spent a lot more time in that zone than I ever expected to. Again, just the density of people I knew would lead me to just stay there a long time.
Yeah.
And I never got bored. It was so high energy.
yeah.
I was the exact opposite. After too long, I was just like, it's the purge. It's happening. Oh, okay. Great.
I want to know how people in those cars drive around. I mean, like, they weren't driving in the zone, but realistically,
Same way you drive a Main Street electrical parade float.
blind.
You just close your eyes.
Darcy, when you Snapchatted the Christmas lights car with the electrical parade music, I lost it.
Mm-hmm.
I died. It was so funny.
It took me like 20 minutes to get that Snapchat because
And it
people
was
kept
worth it.
walking into it.
And it was
Speaking
worth
of
it.
driving, shout out to
The
the
candy
freaking
girl was
motorbike
just
guy.
standing there staring at me like, what the fuck is this bitch doing?
Shout out to who?
Oh yeah, shout out to anyone who had to drive in that zone, whether it be the dirt bikes or the truck.
Oh,
Yes.
People
Hells yeah.
literally don't know
People
how
are
not to
stupid.
stand in the way of a moving vehicle. Like, it amazes me. So with that zone, there were literally layers of roles that people had to play just to keep people from getting hit by the truck. So first you have the dirt bikes who ride with the truck, loud and they're scary, and people will move away. Every single chainsaw in the zone would gather around the truck to try to scare people away from the truck. The NFAA guys who would have the same job, literally part of their role throughout the night, people to get the fuck away from the truck. All of that. You have the coordinators who would have to jump in to get people away from the obvious moving gas-powered truck.
You think
Yeah.
they'd know, right?
You would think they would know to not get in the way of a truck.
Exact.
Some of us want to be in front of a truck. Some of us think that's our home now. I can't blame them.
I
But
get
also
it.
dirt bike guys for never killing anybody, because that
Oh
is,
my-
to me, the single scariest thing in the street is an actual dirt bike revving towards me violently.
Mm-hmm.
They got so close.
Terrifying.
It's like the scariest version of a chainsaw, because chainsaws don't get me anymore because I've been around so many of them, especially at haunt events. Motorbikes, a little scarier.
True.
Like actual moving vehicle that could legitimately kill or very definitely maim me. Like the chainsaws are fake. I'm completely aware that they're fake. Not fake. That's
Yeah,
a real thing.
How would you even fake a dirt bike?
you wouldn't.
You think it's actually one of those like
Red.
wagons that you pull a kid around
Oh
in.
my gosh.
Or like those costumes. It's like be like a costume where their legs were black and they were just walking. And they have like actual
They're Flintstonesing
like, and then they have like fake legs coming out from the side to look like they're real legs on the dirt bike.
But does that mean that the truck is also fake? It's just a giant box.
It's a bunch of people in there.
And
They're all running.
would drag it around with ropes.
We gotta move on. We gotta keep going.
Or even better, even better. It's just a big box and they roll it. They like push it side to side. So they're like, ugh, ugh.
They also have to be running. The victims like put their feet through as well.
Gosh.
Everyone in there is running.
So, fun times in the Purge.
Yes.
Let's move on to the... Look, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. This is the worst scare zone they maybe have ever had. Altars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked this zone, but mostly because the actors were doing really well with the minimal shit they were given.
I'm talking premise and execution. This is a terrible zone. The actors were incredible. They were working so hard with
And the
jack
costumes
shit.
decent. We'll say the costumes were decent for the most part.
Yes.
Okay, I have an entire rant to go in about the Bride in Black that I won't get into, but no, okay, that was from like a Spirit Halloween store. Don't put a mask on a person. Use makeup. Get a veil that's actually like opaque. Synthetic hoop skirts give them some like bedding, dude. Like
Yeah,
crinoline, man. Get some crinoline up in there.
They
Yeah,
really
and
did not
here's
look
the
great.
thing, because the butcher was a properly constructed costume. It was exactly the same as the ones in the house. Of the necessary layers and padding to hang the way it was supposed to on the body. I'm assuming that the bride in black was literally one just pulled from the house 2 years ago. And you can get away with a lot of shortcuts in houses. I mean, I could tell it was the same from the one using the house this year.
Yes, it was.
And it's fine if your costume isn't perfect in a house situation. But out in the street, girl, you better turn that pussy up and not be that ugly.
100%.
Yeah, that costume in the daylight looked like it came from Spirit Halloween.
Literally, it did. It's bad.
I mean, I know this is such a hard part to cast for. I thought the Grady twins were dubious at best on the best of nights.
Yeah, and it's such a shame because those are very nice people. And it also confused me because the Grady twins on cast A in the house were amazing.
Oh yeah.
They're actually my highlight.
Yeah, they're the ones in every video. They look like children. They are the exact same height, and in the wig and makeup, they looked extremely similar.
Yeah.
And how they couldn't find people with the same height. Everyone who played Grady girls this year should have been a Reagan from last year because they were all the same height.
Here's the thing. They should have just called me, and then I could have tucked them in my friend group. I have at least 4 friends who are below 5 feet. I could have just handed them off.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Seriously, Universal, you need to call up Connie. She has a Rolodex of short people to give you.
Really worried.
A real Rolodex. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's old fashioned. I keep it at work because I need to call them up at work to ask them how short they are again. One of them, he I think she's actually
Camille, how tall are you?
yeah. She's 4'7".
Very small.
Very
Pretty
small.
much all the well, I know, okay, so the really good Grady girls that were in house this year, the cast A ones. The cast B ones were really good too. One of them was a Reagan. The other one wasn't, but they looked really good. But what I'm saying is the house ones looked better than the street ones. And since the street ones are the ones getting so heavily photographed, you'd think that would not be the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
That's the thing. A lot of those characters just did not stand up in the daylight that they had for a while. And also, my biggest pet peeve, besides it being shitty, was they played music from each of the IPs, and it would be so weird to see the Butcher or Bagul or someone running around to Ash vs. Evil Dead music.
No, that was perfect. It
was perfect. It was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
One
of my favorite moments from the last night. Well, not the last night, but the last night my friend who was a Grady twin out there was working was the two of them dancing to Be My Lover.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
It was wild.
That is wild.
See, that's actually something I would say was great about the Scare Zone is that it was so minimal that the entire tone of it changed the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about the Scare Zone changed from song to song. It was a different universe from Midnight the Stars of You to I Put a Spell on You. Totally different places.
Okay.
Just getting to hear those fantastic songs in the street, I enjoyed the fuck out of that. I wish that the soundtrack from Altars of Horror had been the park wide.
That would have been good.
That would have been great.
And that's another thing that maybe just
park wide. Send me an angel.
That was a little.
Oh my god.
and that maybe just wasn't something that read very well through the internet for me.
Yeah.
Well, Altars, I like seeing Daddy Long Legba in the street.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I just Sexy Meat Mama in the street.
Mm-hmm.
Sexy Meat Mama is the butcher, by the way. I'm sorry, these are not lingo that I think everybody uses.
We need a dictionary of what you're saying. Thesaurus, please.
Victor said the same thing. We were there one night, and he was like, sometimes I feel like I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
All right. So this is definitely something I don't want to see repeated at the event.
Yeah.
Everything about it felt like such a poor execution.
It's there for the next 26 years.
I would cry. I would cry. But let's move on. Let's give a quick shout out to our friends in Clown Saws.
Yes.
Oh my god, yes. I
Chainsaw
will
noise.
forever appreciate that one with the long legs that just walked around, just like flicking his legs out stupidly. And it was amazing and extra, and I loved him.
And he would shake his butt when he ran out of gas with his chainsaw.
Oh my god, yes. He would rev his chainsaw and shake his ass in time with it.
It was
Perfect.
great.
I think they definitely tried to recreate some of the magic of Clown Saws from 25, which was a really interesting group of people who were really going hard. And I don't know if they quite ascended to that height, but they did a great job with what they were given. And, you know, I don't love clowns. I don't love chainsaws, but those guys are pretty funny.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
anything is going to be in Simpsons, it should be Clown Saws.
That's
I
true.
agree. It works
Yes.
so well in the Simpsons area for sure.
Like, you don't even need any extra theming. It's already a carnival theme.
Exactly.
So it's
It
pretty much
loves the
that.
music in
I
that
would
zone
not be
as
mad
well.
to see,
I was about to say,
although the one thing I do want to see so badly, please, Universal, I know that you're listening, obviously, because we're all international superstars here. Please, chainsaw drag queens.
actual drag queens. Get actual, like, Sharon Needles. Get her.
Yes.
Y'all know Sharon would do
Yes.
it.
But, like, seriously, like,
Roxy
it's perfect
Andrews
for-
out there doing Reach You, Roach
Oh my god! We always come back to Read Your Review.
Please, you know what I want someone to scare me with? I want them to rev their chainsaw and say, "I'm Roxy Andrews, and I'm here to make it clear." Because that's the scariest shit I've ever
I'd like
heard.
to keep it on, please.
My roommates, I've literally started being able to sing along to Read You Wrote You because I just jammed to it so much.
Oh, honey, I can sing that entire song because of Selena. It's like every verse I know by heart, even the Roxy one, which I hate.
Yeah, it's bad.
I hate that I know it.
All right.
But yeah, so chainsaw drag queens in full all men. I don't want women. I want men.
Men in drag.
Actual drag queens.
And especially
Yes.
like there's so many gay men in Orlando, and there's so many of these makeup artists that would die to do drag makeup every night. Please slay the house down. You know, you do the right thing.
The creativity that would be on display would be incredible.
Oh yeah.
And it would just be so funny.
It would just be so fun, yeah.
Yeah.
Because drag queens are already scary to some people.
True that. Oh yeah. Connie and I learned that.
That would be the
hard way
scariest
other
fear
day.
for the homophobes. Babadook House, drag queens with chainsaws.
HHN,
I love-
the gay year.
If you work at Horror Nights, every
HHN 20 gay.
year.
Not
HHN
20.
69.
Oh no.
I'm not waiting that long.
Same.
I will walk in there and I will
By
take
then, we're
over.
all going to be in our little ECVs,
Oh my gosh,
God.
bringing it around town.
going in a little parade down the street.
Oh my god, we can all be that lady whose ECV has like a big Grim Reaper on the back and is covered in light.
Yes.
That's
and
right.
she drags a walker around to go through the houses with.
That's amazing.
Bless.
All right. So, scare zones overall, I feel like we had some really highs, really high highs, really low lows.
Really low lows, yeah.
Did you mean my mental health?
Yes. I meant all of our mental health.
Good point.
Hey, first of all, none of us are mentally healthy, so.
You know it. This podcast is brought to you by Zoloft.
This podcast is brought to you by Black Tar Heroin.
We do not advocate drug use. Thanks.
I do. Do drugs, kids. It makes you feel better.
Okay, let's move on to the houses. It only took us 50 minutes to get through 5 scare zones.
Oh, this is going to be great.
There's
Let's-
drugs in some of the houses, too. It's a great transition.
I know, right?
What house was there drugs in?
Story there was weed.
I mean, right
Good
in
point.
Dr. Arden's room? Like, that's what he used?
No, in the greenhouse. Obviously, they were growing their own.
You think Emma Roberts' character in Coven was not growing weed in there?
Well, hey,
That
actually,
is a good point.
there were
Wait.
2 greenhouses in that house,
There were.
right?
I mean, that's more of a barn.
Okay.
in the Polks. But yeah, the Polks, it was actual weed plants, and A&D had a really hard time even getting them into Universal. It was gonna smell like weed, and they pussied out and just made it smell like dirt. They bought the weed.
Oh my god!
They're like,
They
"Nah,
bought
we're
the
gonna
weed
dirt
smell.
That
I'm sure somebody else brought the weed smell too.
Oh yeah, I
Somebody else
smelled
brought-
weed so many nights.
Quick character story. Stoners are great to scare because they just kind of smile at you and they're like, huh. And you know that they're stoned because they were probably smoking in line. Because, oh my god, sometimes the smell of shit would just be overwhelmed with the smell of that good.
Yeah.
Dog, like that dank. And I'd be like, oh, it was hilarious.
All right. So I guess since we started with American Horror Story, let's go there first.
Fuck yeah. 10
Yeah.
out of 10 best house of all time.
I feel like that's a little biased there, Melody.
How about you shut the fuck up immediately and forever?
All right.
Blame it all.
I loved this house. It had two of my favorite seasons.
Everything negative you say personal. I'm just kidding. It's fine. You can say whatever you want.
I honestly, honest to God, though, I really don't have a lot negative to say about it.
Me either.
I mean, if we did, we couldn't.
Yeah, I was
good
saying, I'd be
point.
too scared to say anything.
Let me tell you, it was so amazing to see them use Asylum, a season I didn't particularly like, and put in like exclusively all the parts of the season I actually liked,
Exactly.
and leave out everything I didn't like.
Same.
Like amazing. And this was like including a scene where when I first watched the show, I was like, this needs to be in a house right now. And it was there. It was the cell block, you know, where the Angel of Death was.
Yes.
And particularly the slow pulsing red lights. That was a scene in like episode 2 or something, and I was just like, oh my god.
That was my favorite costume in the house, was the angel.
Oh wait,
Yes.
So that back movement, that flippity flip.
Yes. Wah!
Obsessed.
Bitch out with those wings.
Yeah, for real. So my highlight of the house, I have 3. I loved that they got in. This is like such a small thing for me, but the only time where I legitimately got spooked when I was watching Roanoke was with Granddaddy Mott in the bottom when his eyes went funky.
Yeah.
They got that in there and did it really well. I thought it looked amazing.
He did. Some nights it looked great, and some nights it didn't look so great. But most of the time it looked really good.
So that's I only ever saw it looking right. So the amazing scenic in this house. Oh my god, it looked just like the show. The greenhouse was incredible. Especially, I remember the greenhouse very well. That looked so good. And I think the Chen puppets were terrifying.
Yep.
Oh, 100%.
I hate that. Every time I'd go through there, I would point to that and I'd be like, fuck you, and immediately the head would pop up.
Can I
say fuck you, it won't bother you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
As someone who is particularly unobservant about like 100% of my life, in the Chen room, the second one with the puppet and the butcher, right behind, like when you walk in, and they're like, Chen in front of you, and they move all like pretty crack.
Yeah.
And then right a little bit and go past the butcher alcove. Right behind that, like as you walk past that, the last time I went through, I saw like a little like door.
Yes, that was there since opening night, and I have pictures to prove it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I remember seeing that too.
When did that happen in the show?
There was
Who was playing Jack?
Of the what was it? It was like the little black girl who had the ghost friend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I have memories now.
They would.
That was one of those like drop plot lines I felt with that season.
Looked really closely in that closet. It had the jacks that they were playing with, and it had a flashlight and a sleeping bag.
Oh, I definitely saw all of that in the 2 seconds where I was like, where has this been my whole life?
It was there.
The butcher never came out, so I turned around.
It was
That's
there.
the only time I saw it.
So I loved it. I thought it was such a fantastic little detail that almost nobody was going to notice. And I guess I was right, because multiple people, like, closing weekend were like, Melody, has that always been there? And I was like, yes.
Interesting.
It's wild.
Bless you.
An authority on the American Horror Story houses.
Please tell me. Anyway.
So yeah, quick question: do you guys think we're gonna see American Horror Story ever again?
Yes.
Probably.
I don't think I know.
Interesting.
Um,
I don't know about that, Melody. But I'm just saying, reactions to this season has been mixed, to say the least.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be cult, but I can say with literally 100% certainty we will see Horror Story again.
All right.
So
I agree. It's too popular not to come back in some way, shape, or form. They've just done all the seasons that would be doable.
I can absolutely see cult being done in a multi-season house like we've had so far. There's not enough material for a whole house. There's definitely enough material for a third of a house.
I would agree, just between the clown makeup alone on that show this year.
Yeah, and so highlights of Horror Story for me. Pepper, banana fana faux pepper, pepper. Fucking love that guy. Always it was hilarious, amazing. Shout out to the one night that he wore fake titties. God, that was so funny.
what?
As Pepper, so it was Halloween, and we all came dressed up. Pepper came in full drag.
Wonderful.
That was amazing.
He kept his titties on.
That's
Because
awesome.
it made sense. Pepper's a female, and he kept talking about how he would come out, and he's like, I don't know how y'all scare with these. I keep bumping into children. It was so funny. It was great. So yeah, that one night that Pepper was slightly more bodacious than other nights. Shout out to Walter, my favorite slave. He had maggots in his face, and he was the only black one. Orkita for suffering.
True. I also want to give, I don't want to interrupt you. I thought the Papa Legba scare was super good.
Oh,
Yes.
properly. Yes, it was beautiful.
I loved it.
We'll all be Papa Lake, but I already have the top hat. But
I feel like I ignored him so many times because every time I would go through the attic, I'd just be like dying. And then I'd be like, oh right, Papa Legba's here too.
Hi, Legba.
Hi, Daddy.
One time he was just kind of staring at me, and I was like, your baby's beautiful. And he just smacked the baby against the wall and went back into his boo hole.
Yep.
Oh, no.
Like, that's child abuse, sir.
Is a scare. Like, he would literally just take the baby and smash the head against the wall to, like, make a away.
Oh, my God.
It was so funny.
I live for it.
Myrtle Snow putting on the best concert since I don't even know when. This is the best concert of all time every night.
Right.
Shout out to the fact that there were two overtly racist characters in one house.
That's true.
There's a Confederate soldier and me.
You're the most racist, deplorable person who's ever been portrayed in a Horror Nights house.
No,
Really?
right? And everyone's like, oh, I like her. You're not scary. And I'm like, I want to kill you because you're black.
She's the worst,
Yeah.
objectively speaking.
Also, shout out to the fact that May Nice the Confederate was played by a black man in the mask, and I think that was so
God.
funny.
That's hilarious.
I would pull him into my arms and be like, how let's see. What else did I love in that house? The common room with Santa. Everything about that room was pretty.
That was amazing. And hearing Dominique was so cool, like to be in that, hear that song.
Dominique,
What?
that's what it sounded like to me at this point.
There's two things you learn in there: Dominique and the name game.
Seriously,
Yes.
literally, yes. Okay, so the name game, they would play the Pepper chorus in the queue, and I could hear it from my boo hole, and that's literally, I can now do the name game. Connie, Bobani, Banana Fana, Fofani, Fifi, Momani, Connie.
Listen,
Everybody now, just because I heard it thousands of times.
it was always great though when that song came on in the queue, because people, like, it would just be like,
The entire queue would just start dancing
yeah, it was, everyone would just start dancing.
every
was like,
single
wow.
time.
I
Without
didn't
fail.
know.
Darcy, Bobarcy, Banana Fana, Bobarcy, Fifi, Momarcy, Darcy.
Okay.
I feel like we need to move on now. We've been on
My
Horror
timer
Story
went
for
off. I have to
15
continue.
minutes.
Yeah, because it's the greatest house of all time.
Okay.
So many smells. Also, very smelly house.
Nobody smelled. Okay, let's move on to another house that I know we all really enjoyed, The Shining.
Yeah.
I think enjoy was an underestimation.
Daddy!
Daddy boy!
This house was a fucking dream come true. Like, it was awesome.
I don't actually like the Kubrick version. I hate what it stands for, but this house was such an amazingly faithful recreation that I can't help but love it.
It was like the best kind of fever dream of The Shining. Like, it was like a hallucination of it.
It was exactly what The Exorcist wanted to be.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was how I thought of it. I read the synopsis when they first announced it, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna hate it because this is what I hated about Exorcist. And then it was actually successful.
Yeah.
They are
Well,
fundamentally very different movies, though.
as a movie makes more sense to be portrayed as a fever dream than The Exorcist does.
That's true.
Because The Shining is a fever dream. That's sort of the plot.
That's the plot, guys. It's just a fever dream. You start out in the head,
I mean,
you
it
end in
is,
the
though,
head.
that it's
Sometimes
a
people yell at
discontent
you.
madness. And so taking that idea and making it into a house was so good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all remember when we thought there weren't going to be any Jacks in there?
And then there were
I
so
don't know
many.
who the fuck said
So
that,
many.
but they were nothing but Jacks.
That's it. Jack, Wendy, Jack. One Dick Halloran that was alive, and then one that was
Lloyd.
dead.
Literally go
You're
through
forgetting
and tell you
Lloyd,
every character in
goddammit.
this house in
Right.
order.
Lloyd, Dogman, lots of Grady's, and the
Yes.
twins. Them adult Grady's and the little wee Grady's.
Wait, I want to try this really quick. Okay, Dick, Wendy, Jack. I say two because there was two in that scare.
Mm-hmm.
What was that? Bathtub Lady, Grady twins. Oh shit, I'm trying to go in order.
Grady.
Dog.
Because
Oh, yeah,
the
other
elevator was next.
Yeah.
Then
Grady,
Wendy and Jack, another Jack,
yes, Wendy,
Dogman,
Jack, Dogman. Great Party, isn't it?
whatever he was. Yeah.
He doesn't. He was just called the party goer.
Mm.
Great party.
Isn't it?
What happened? Isn't it?
And then the maze was Jack.
Jack.
Yeah.
Junior Frosty, Medium Frosty, and Supersized Frosty.
Supersized Frosty Jack. And at least
I love
we didn't have...
Supersized Frosty.
He literally...
I got it.
At least we
I
didn't
got
have... No. I literally... Every time I watch The Shining, I always think of Hollywood's terrible, dummy...
Oh my god, yes.
with the tiny arms!
He looked so goofy. Ours looked okay.
Oh, yeah.
Ours.
Yeah.
It wasn't
So Supersized Frosty Jack just makes me laugh every time I think of him because on the last night, one of my reserves friends was him and he just kind of went out of the first boo hole, saw me, then went out of the second one and gave me a hug. And the lady behind me was like, is that part of the house? Is that a part of the house? I'm like, yes, everyone gets a hug from Jack.
That's it. That's the real deal. I liked multiple times walking through houses, getting not hugged by characters, but getting actually slashed by weapons.
Yes.
People around me would freak out. That was always great.
Oh my god, Melody. One
My
night,
God.
you I remember specifically you smacked me on the ass with your fan and this Mexican group behind us was so concerned. They were so upset that they had dared touch me. They were all at the exit muttering to each other in Spanish and pointing at me. And it was hilarious.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. I love that.
That's amazing. So my favorite highlights from The Shining, definitely the Grady twins mirror scare. I thought that was
Oh my god, yes.
Yes.
It was good in theory. It just made no sense the way it was placed. So it made sense when they did Mr. Mary Eunice because you were turning left. You were not immediately turning into where the mirror was.
Yeah, exactly.
And even in Ash, it was pretty good as well.
Yeah.
The Grady twins, there's no way I could ever buy that they were standing in front of me because I'm about to walk there.
Yeah, exactly.
But they moved so fast. so great at getting into that. And their blocking was great. I mean, like getting into their stations and then moving back. They did a good job.
Shout out to the Cascade girls. They were so clever. They would switch spots every set, so they would always know exactly how many steps to take. It was great, and they would like squeeze each other's hand when it was time to hit the trigger. I think
that's so cute.
And also, they really did have to hold hands for 45 straight minutes every set.
Nice.
Wow. And the other thing is, I think the gold room portion was incredible.
Oh
yes.
Oh, that's how I feel.
Yeah, that was amazing. They were also so quick to get back into position.
Oh, it always
right. The turnaround in that room is incredible.
Literally, that like second and a half of blackness, they would go back to being statues.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it.
They are.
Oh my God, Lloyd.
So wonderful.
Bartender from Timbuktu to Portland, Maine, or Portland, Oregon, for that matter.
All right, so I think we're all definitely in agreement that The Shining was one of this year's highlights.
Yes.
Cool. So let's keep it moving. The next house I have on my list is Scarecrow.
I wanted to love Scarecrow a lot more than I did, but for me, visuals are really, really key to a house, and it certainly delivered on the scares, but if you looked around at anything other than the scares, it was like wall, farming tools, wall.
Yeah, I have to agree that the scenic was sort of lacking, except that one room that was like 2 stories with the stairs.
Yes, that was the one room that was good. And the outhouse, I liked the outhouse scene.
Yeah,
I thought that also looked pretty good.
It was just sort of like hay and corn and farm tools and wood.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get that the slaughterhouse was supposed to be a slaughterhouse, but that's only because I went through it so many times. It didn't look like a slaughterhouse.
Mm-hmm.
What scene was the slaughterhouse? I didn't get that.
The pigs. That's why they were all. It was supposed to be a slaughterhouse.
That's why they're pigs.
No, we were just taking tips from Hollywood.
See, the fact that someone who's like a Horror Nights expert was never even able to figure out what that was supposed to be is proof that it was kind of an overrated house.
Yeah.
I would say this for Scarecrow.
Wait, go ahead.
I don't normally get scared watching the footage. I'm like, oh, that's cool, neat. I got scared watching the Scarecrow house footage. Like,
yeah, I will say that. It was definitely an intense house. The scares were really good. The actors were on point.
Those actors are
amazing. Like, oh my God, the last time I went through the house, you all know the scare where he would peek through like that weird thatched roof fringe stuff?
Yeah.
With like the stupid face?
So good.
The last time I went through, I heard the noise and I was expecting him to peek through, but no, this fucker reached all the way over the thatched roof and stuck his arm in my face.
Yeah, that roof scare.
Like, what the hell?
That was literally, I got 1 or 2 like literal like startles out of it. That was one of them.
I love the guy beneath the window.
I have to say, I know the scenic in this house wasn't totally great, especially when you have houses like Dead Waters and Shining and everything.
Yeah.
The costuming was really awesome. Like, I loved the design of the actual Scarecrows.
The pigs made me so happy. They were the best pigs at the event.
Good. Those were good pigs. Good pigs.
Lovely pigs.
I like the horror story Piggy Pigs better, but whatever.
You know, that's what.
You know what,
I
Melody?
thought their masks were great because they looked like real pigs and they were very cute.
Yeah, I liked Big Jaw Man.
Tall man.
Jaw guy.
Tall man. Oh my God.
Yeah. Huge. His mouth just went flippity flop flop. So good.
About Scarecrow, I really liked their ops. Felt like they never hurried me along, and they always seemed to enjoy watching people get spooked as they were getting.
Okay.
The only problem I ever had I had problems with ops in basically every house. The only time I ever had a problem in Scarecrow was when one ops guy in the bird shit room was trying to scare people over the wall.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah, no, that's spicy.
Yeah, fired in Horror Story for being ops and scaring people. So
also, quick question. I just want to know who pitched the idea of the bird shit effect.
God, I wish I
Can you imagine? All right, guys. So I have this idea.
No, but see, they would be perfect. Like, I'm here to pitch this idea. It's going to be a great way for us to say F you to everyone. We're just going to shit on everyone, and they'll like it. They're going to like it.
Oh my goodness.
They're going to pay us
to get shit on.
for us to poop on them. Yes.
Something of note, I was kind of shocked when you guys were like, this wasn't my favorite, because this is one of the only houses I consistently saw in people's top 4.
I have terrible taste in anything. I have terrible taste. That's why I loved Ash so much. That's why I hated American Werewolf.
Well, see, I have good taste, but also I have a very specific agenda when it comes to Horror Nights. And for me, honestly, scariness is very close to the bottom of reasons why I like something at Horror Nights. I like it for the acting, the costumes, for the makeup. And I'm not saying any of that was bad in Scarecrow, but the reason that people's dicks were so hard for that house was because they got good scares. The boo holes were extremely well camouflaged, even for a scare. That's something I know.
Yeah.
Love Scarecrow. Because we're so in tune with where boo holes are. These were very well camouflaged. Some of the best camouflage boo holes I've ever seen. And the costumes themselves blended into the color scheme and the textures of the rooms.
Yeah.
So the visible for both people who are very in tune to that and people who aren't in tune to that. So overall, it just turned out to have a lot of really good jump scares, which is great. It's a haunted house event. Bring on the scary shit. But to me, scares is not the only factor to what makes something truly
I agree, yeah.
What makes it truly magnificent is that in a single room there was a painting of a Pomeranian and of a cat
in a Victorian dress. Every time I would go through that house, I had to pet the cat.
Same.
That was my only tradition in that house.
Dude, but there's that one scare where that guy literally jumps, he comes out of the window at you 3 different times.
Yes.
He just forces his entire upper body. He must be launching himself. He's got rocket powered feet. He just launches right out of there. Straight up.
I thought it was really funny. So Victor liked to point out that when I would go through houses, it was he liked when I would go first because I'm incredibly easy to read as to when the scares are coming, because I would basically just stop in every boo hole. So he said he could prepare himself to get scared. And also that going through houses was just a series of and being manhandled and interacting with people that I knew. Scarecrow being the exception, I knew the least number of people there. I only knew one person on each cast.
That's also why I didn't do that house as much as I did others.
He said I would get equally as excited over seeing someone I knew and seeing that picture of a Pomeranian.
That's so true. I love that. All right, let's get rolling here. Next up on the list is my personal favorite original this year, Dead Waters.
Dead Watch.
I want to live on that riverboat. I am going to break into that soundstage, bring a sleeping bag, and just chill.
Can we please live in that riverboat? Please.
That's what we're gonna record next time.
Yes.
Honestly, that riverboat was just as pretty with the lights on as with the lights off, and that is something.
Gorgeous.
So pretty.
Yeah. I don't really consider. I don't think I've ever considered the facade of a house a highlight of the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the thing with the facade is that it wasn't even really the facade because there were characters there.
That's true.
Yeah.
As much as seen in the house as anything else, and they got me so good because it's ingrained in me that a Horror Nights house doesn't start until 2 rooms in.
Yeah, but then suddenly there's actors, and they're honestly the best use of ghillie suits I've seen since I went to Busch Gardens Howlow Scream in Williamsburg in 2010.
Yep.
Those are some good ghillie.
Old Greg.
Yes, the return of old Greg aesthetics this year.
Yes.
Yeah, I loved a lot in that house. I loved the chicken. The chicken was probably the highlight for me.
I don't think any house with a zombie Mark Twain can't not be one.
Oh my
True.
God. Would twerk. I'm sorry, that never actually happened. Excuse me.
I have a weird story to tell that's only tangentially related, but so my violin group played this dinner one time. It was in a peach orchard out in the woods.
Mhm.
And they had a big table set up in the middle of the forest. It was like a scene out of like a music video. Like it looked
That's
super cool.
wild.
And we got to play music for it. And for some reason, there was a Mark Twain impersonator there, like just eating dinner.
Whoa.
What?
And he like came up with
Amazing.
music and like all this stuff. And like there was literally no reason for him to be there. No one like
He was
no one
just there.
expect him to be there. This dude just showed up as Mark Twain and stayed in character the whole night.
That's literally my number one sexual fantasy.
Like I got to shake hands with Mark Twain.
That's
Like,
wild.
It was wild. So Mark Twain has a special place in my heart, and Zombie Mark Twain does too.
Yeah, I had Mark Twain rub his
Good.
ass on me, so
That room was always fun for me because I would go through there and I'd get excited every time because the boo hole right before him had Mary Agnes' mirror in it.
yeah,
That's true.
And every time I'd go through, I'd start chanting Bloody Mary, and then he'd come out and scare me, and like immediately after, and it was great.
the single most beautiful boo hole of all time.
Yeah.
Like there was
Oh,
more
yes.
detail in that boo hole than there was in the entire last 4 rooms of Blumhouse.
Yeah, Jesus,
That's
that
true.
vanity.
This house is
Those
really
coins on it. I'm still convinced that some of those had to have been old Horror Nights coins
maybe
That would have been really cool. The
tried
candles,
so in
everything,
there, but I couldn't.
and
this is
tables.
literally the best scenic of a house ever.
Oh, yeah. And this is coming from someone who, like, basically was continuously dying and coming back to life in Tomb of the Ancients because it was so gorgeous.
Mm.
Oh my god. Seriously though? Fucking Swamp Witch with the I'll pluck your eyes out. Oh my god.
Yes.
I know. Everyone was
And
so
the nod, and I loved how it was like an entirely new house, but it still had nods to Bayou of Blood, other than Mamba being there.
yeah.
Like, I was so happy in that last room when I saw the mask of my favorite stilt walker from Bayou of Blood, and I was like, dying,
Hell yeah.
Of
literally dying.
Oh, there was just so much it was just so pretty. Like there was so I love junk theming. It's something that every theme park in the world does. Every haunted house does it at least once, where there's just a ton of shit everywhere and suddenly it's themed. But the thing with Dead Waters is that everywhere was just so appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
What was so interesting. I went through there with an interesting man who worked in Horror Story. He is one of the psychics over at Islands of Adventure. And also builds magic tricks for magicians professionally. That's his career. He's
Wow.
one of the... Also, fun fact, he was a stilt walker in the old Festival of the Dead parade.
Cool.
One of the most interesting people I know. And we walked into one of those rooms with all the junk, and he said, God, I just wish my house was this. I want
Right?
this to...
Me too.
And I
Me
get
too.
there was just so much interesting stuff everywhere.
Hey,
Yeah, that's gonna be. We're gonna start a GoFundMe for us, the 4 of us, to all live in Dead Waters.
it. Darcy, I swear to fuck,
Oh,
I
there.
was about to say that. I literally opened my mouth to say, hey everyone, we're about to start a GoFundMe. I'm serious. I am
Oh my
I am
God.
levitating. I am so angry I'm levitating.
Levitating.
What?
I am levitating.
Connie, you should go
Listen to me.
So angry I'm levitating.
4 hours. That's not healthy.
You don't know my life.
Yes, I
Okay, so Dead Waters, amazing, hands down, awesomeness. So let's get into
do. It was,
another one of those mixed reception houses, Ash versus Evil Dead.
you
I
mean
love this house so much.
beautiful music.
I have
I love
terrible
how we're all
taste
like
in
fuck.
media, and I'm unashamed to admit this. It was not a good house. It had horrible scares, and god damn it, I loved it.
It was a great house. It had music that was super good to dance to.
I was about to
And-
say, my highlight of this house is literally the soundtrack. Like, I just
It
love
was
the fun party mode.
Okay, wasn't super scary, but I don't think that makes it bad. You know what else wasn't super scary? Asylum of Wonderland, and I think that
That is true.
What
That
words
is
are
true.
you
That was my
saying?
favorite house that year.
yeah, my favorite thing is And this is something that I think a lot of more seasoned Horror Nights people don't remember, is that when people are first dipping their toes into this stuff, it can be very intense and it can be very stressful. And having something like Ash vs. Evil Dead or Asylum in Wonderland or From Dusk Till Dawn from 24, something that is still definitely a haunted house, but is
Resident Evil as well, which I also really loved.
Need that. They can't handle anything too much. Not everybody can do a scarecrow.
Oh, for real?
So I think having less, like, the houses need to be on a scale. Not everything has to be the scariest thing in the world.
They literally need like a spiciness scale for horror.
Yes.
Yes.
No,
Like,
I
this
will
is the mild house. This is the spicy house. This is the alarm chili house, you know?
I will say, what this house lacked in scares made up for it in excellent storytelling and excellent acting.
Yes.
The actors were
Which is why I kept going back. This was the house I did the most this year. Partly because it never had a line, but you know.
Oh, yes. No lines.
It had great repeat value. I saw lots of different things every time I went through there.
Between the story, the constant finding new props, the different ashes staring at your boobs, it was the ideal package.
Well, I'm not going to say any of the ashes stared at my boobs, but they did do that Winter Guard baton swirl. Oh my god. Spin that gun. Spin it. Spin it right in the air.
One of them tried to pull me down onto the couch in his room, which was fun.
Sometimes you just gotta go couch surfing. It's fine.
He's going to listen to you talk about your problems.
Hell yeah.
Mental illness is really the running theme tonight.
We're all dead inside. Thanks for listening.
Like, they managed to incorporate Puppet Ash, and I was giving my live.
Yes.
Overall, this year was just very quotable in terms of triggers, much more so than last year.
Yes. I literally quote, Ashy Slashy's gonna kill us all on the daily.
Same. I say that so often. And then I also say the Ninja Losing His Virginity. I say hello, pussies.
Yes.
I should have started with hello, pussies today.
Shit.
Hello, pussies.
That should be our opening pre-show.
I quote Ashen Shining the most.
People really took Mel's trigger in AHS and ran with it.
Yes.
Like, people who weren't even us, like, other people were saying, oh, you're not man enough, you know?
Yeah. You're not rolled enough for my taquito.
Yeah.
Extremely brief story time. I had, well, first off, I got an amazing shout out in the large Horror Nights Facebook group, where someone posted a screenshot of me in the house, and they're like, who the fuck is this? She's really funny. Which absolutely made my whole life. It was so sweet. When I commented, and I was like, thank you. He messaged me, and he said, you need to know that everybody at my Publix, you're not man enough for my Borquita, like, constantly.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
And it made me so happy. Like, I can't even tell you. When I would go as a guest, literally absolute strangers would look at me and say, you're not man enough for my Borquita. And it was fucking hilarious.
That's
amazing.
So cool.
The girl that was like, did Kathy Bates just say fajita?
Did she?
I wish I'd said fajita. Sometimes when I get really bored, I'd start mouthing different things. I'd start mouthing like pizzerita, fajita, burrito, etc.
Yes.
But not
with quotes. Yes, Ash was very quotable. You know what, you were a piece of this. Like, there's just so much good stuff.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So quotable. So it makes
oh my god.
sense.
Of course. Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I have to break in. My mom just texted me that a certain Principal Wilkins came up behind her in City Walk just a minute ago and said Happy Halloween to her and scared the shit out of her. And then walked away.
That's
hilarious.
That's
Could
amazing.
not have come at a better time. Okay, let's keep moving. Next up is Hive.
I loved Hive so much, and I wasn't expecting to because every other replacement for houses in the past has been really shitty.
I feel like, I feel like I definitely went in thinking that it was going to be, well, I think it would have been easier to accept and love immediately if I didn't know what it was about or what it was supposed to be about.
I went in with absolutely no expectations and extremely low standards, and I loved it.
I loved that they had a Clint Eastwood poster and a dartboard, roller skates, hockey, and a guitar, violin, cello. They just, the first room, they were just like, what do teenagers in the 80s like? All the things.
About to say, they're very well entertained.
Teenagers in the 80s didn't have no goddamn video games or cell phones.
They literally had arcades. Just put an entire
Their only
Galaga right in
entertainment
there.
is vampirism.
I have said
Yeah.
before that I would love to see an arcade-themed house with, like, haunted arcade machines, like Wreck-It Ralph, but evil.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That
Yeah.
would be cool.
In the 80s. Okay, so we keep having these fake 80s houses that just have, like, a couple of, like,
What?
some 80s songs. Bitch,
Like, come
I
on,
want
Universal.
all
You
of
could have at least played Africa by Toto.
a house that has pastel shoulder pads, goddammit. Give me the
Yeah.
actual
Yes.
Well, I think,
Where are my vampires and leg warmers, damn it?
Thank
I
you.
mean,
But anyways, back to actual
yes,
Yes.
I loved the pops of neon in this house.
The blacklight effects in that house were so amazing.
Oh,
Yeah,
these contacts,
Oh,
contact.
the
eyeballs.
characters' contacts were just gorgeous.
It also felt like really, really unique compared to everything else because everything else is strobe, 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 and this was just a lot of black lights.
it was really
It
different.
No
very-
strobes, and it was great.
Yeah, this was one I definitely,
Really-
I think to me, I saw later footage of it that wasn't from preview weekend, and they stepped their pussy up. It was good.
I enjoyed. So this was something I liked about Scarecrow too, but I liked it even more about Hive. The sound design. I just love the way the triggers sound.
Yes.
Yeah,
They settled on for the sounds that these vampires made. I loved that they
I loved that.
completely shied away from sexy vampires. There was nothing sexy
Oh,
about the house except
no.
everything.
Oh,
because it
yeah.
was so well.
Well, I mean, they are sexy to some people.
They're
They're
sexy to
sexy.
us. Please, Daddy.
Absolutely.
Dude.
I am working so hard to get a Shape of Water reference in right now, and I can't. I can't figure it out. I
God
have
damn
to
it.
keep it up.
God.
We don't need to hear about people wanting to fuck the fish.
But we've talked about fucking everything else tonight.
It's a joke.
You know what? You know what? If anywhere you could have fit that in, it would have been in Dead Waters.
Oh yeah.
Oh
I
my
really
god,
missed my chance.
yes.
Waters.
I really missed my chance, and we were talking about fucking ugly things, and I was like, oh, where can I get a fishman joke in here?
Made the mandatory fishman reference instead of you.
Dang it.
We gotta spread the love around a little bit.
Yeah. You
Everyone
said
a
old
fish
Greg
guy.
first, though. And he's a fish man. Sort of.
Hey. Who's a fishman?
Old Greg.
Greg?
You said him first.
Oh yeah, the bush people, the nug men, the weed guys.
Okay, let's get back on track.
Moving on.
Hive, good times. I also loved the ugly vampire concept instead of
Yeah.
sexy, especially after we
I
did
loved
Vampire
the
5 where everyone
smell
wanted.
of that house too. I loved the smell for some reason.
So
It
I
was
actually
just-
know what that smell is because I helped apply that smell to a different haunt that my friend was building. That
What
is
is it?
mildew.
Good to
Ooh,
know.
I like
Yeah,
that.
mildew.
Exact same smell at Dare to Escape in the first part of the asylum. Quick little plug there.
Oh,
Smell I am unfortunately very familiar with.
okay.
Yeah.
I think narratively, Hive seems a little scattered, but in terms of just pure
But
aesthetics and scares,
That's
it's pretty fun.
like because it's a replacement, and
No, I
they kind of
agree.
had to work with a half-built maze.
Honestly, though, I
completely
feel like
agree.
there was more narrative to Hive than there was to Scarecrow. Because in
Yes,
Hive,
that is
I
true.
read the synopses on the map, and I was like, oh, okay, Nosferatu. Well, also, okay, they explained it in a lot of detail at our orientation, which is kind of, that helps. But okay,
Mhm.
Nosferatu built a house to create his own little colony of vampires. That's all I needed to know because then,
Yeah.
bam, we makes sense.
Yeah. I myself found that a little harder to get at. Like, I kept trying to piece together a narrative with the cradle at the beginning.
That's literally, it was just supposed to be that they ate the babies that were in there.
Okay.
Yummy, yummy.
I kind of
That's-
tried to be like, what's going on here?
I feel like that's the most realistic part of that house, actually, because I too ate meat.
But like,
Oh
it
my
just,
gosh.
I don't know, it makes sense to me. And it got weirder and weirder because it was supposed to be that you're going like underground, that they've just been digging below the house and building like caves and shit because they're bats. I love the hanging kids, like bat kids.
Mm-hmm.
Can I my one complaint about Hive is the very last, maybe the second to last scare, like that boo hole where that head drops down.
Where the head, I didn't see anything in there until like the last 2 weeks of the event, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
It's so hard to
That was
see.
one of the silliest things I've ever seen.
Like, they should have just ended it with Nosferatu, and that would have been, and then the Hallway of Eyes, and then that would have been perfect.
I kept thinking when I saw it, I kept thinking that it was like a faulty trigger and that like this character just wasn't in their boo hole. I was like, oh, that's weird that nothing is happening there.
Nobody there.
I also like that we like legit got a Nosferatu house because
I know, right?
I mean, first of all, question, actual legit, all that dirt is from his house, right, in Transylvania? Like, he has to carry his dirt around with him. Vampires have to bring their dirt with them. Their, like, home earth with them when they go places. This is the actual Nosferatu question from an actual Nosferatu. Like, that's all that dirt is from, like, his original castle, I'm pretty sure.
That's wild.
Sure.
He's filled his house with his dirt so he can live there. Otherwise, he'd have to
He's
go
just
back.
going on a plane with entire suitcases full of dirt.
TSA pulls you aside.
I don't know if you can go that high. Boats, my bro, boats.
Good point. He's going on a boat with giant suitcases full of dirt.
I'm on a boat. I'm on a motherfucking boat, says Nosferatu.
That's canon, goddammit.
I was always a big fan of stilts and houses. There were stilts in 2 houses this year, and then a very tall scarecrow who was not on stilts.
The stilt scare in Hive, I loved it. I loved what it could have been had it been The Conjuring. But I have to say, one of the highlights of the run for me was a night there was nobody doing the stilt scare. So there was nobody on stilts in there, but instead, the really short vampire who normally pops out from the side was hitting the stilt trigger and doing the stilt scare, but they were just really short.
That is really funny.
That is really funny.
That's fucking great.
It was like this gigantic hallway, and then there's just this really short vampire walking as menacingly as possible, which was not very menacingly.
Why don't they put them on those like those upside down bucket shoes?
Okay.
You remember?
They just walk out wearing like drag heels.
Yes.
Drag
No, I mean specifically ththose like moon bounce bucket things from the 90s.
Oh yeah.
You like strap your feet to those bucket shoes and then you just like bouncing around with
Clonk, clonk.
They bouncing too though. That's good. You want some bouncy vampires?
Connie and I had one particularly picturesque interaction with with one of those stilt daddy Nosferatus.
Daddy.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
That was really spectacular, and I will never forget it.
Yeah, you almost cried when you told me about that.
It was really picture perfect.
Amazing.
You two are surprisingly subtle talking about this.
Hi, we have I get sued sometimes, so
Yes, Universal is suing you.
I mean, just to explain and embellish a little bit, a gentleman who at one point has played the director was on stilt that night. And it's not someone I would say I know well, but clearly we know each other enough that he had been giving me the beard signal for a couple of weeks when I'd been coming through wherever he would be. Sometimes he'd be there. I think at one point he was in Trick or Treat. He was swinging over there.
Yeah.
As Skeleton Man. But he gave
He
me
was
beard
also over there as
hands
Top Hat Guy one night.
It made me very, very happy. It made me very happy, first off, that he referenced a role I played in the past and that he referenced a role he played in the past and the reason that I know of him in the first place. So yes, thank you, Dad Director Nosferatu.
Okay, our next house up on the list is Saw.
Eh.
I was about to say, all I have to say about this is meh.
The best part of that house was pressing buttons and actually not getting in trouble for pushing buttons.
Yeah, I mean, there was quite a few things I liked about that house. I liked the room with the 2 reverse bear traps, one on each side.
That room was laid out really well. I did like that.
I thought that was cool. I liked that the bear traps actually like opened, like they were a actual moving mechanical prop. I think that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Bathroom, despite having a really stupid like pigman scare for no reason, was an absolute flawless recreation of the scene from the movie.
I do think that, but at the same time, it was really awkward because both of the scares were in the first half of the room, and then you were just kind of awkwardly walking through a really large bathroom.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it was a good room, just that it looked just like the movie.
Yeah,
For sure.
And I appreciate that.
I have to say that my mother really liked those long-haired pigmen. She didn't know they were from Saw when they were in Alters, but she just really liked that they had long hair pigs. That was really cool.
Do we need to start kink shaming Connie's mom instead of me now?
kink shaming is universal, Randy. We can kink shame all of us.
Universal.
Universal.
Hashtag kink shaming is universal.
Okay.
Honestly, that should be our line.
I'm about to mount a defense of this house that because I feel like this house I think this is one of the last IPs to get announced, and people were really hoping for it this year or even Stranger Things. I don't know if Stranger Things is ever going to show up. But I think a lot of people wanted this house to be another IP, and I think they didn't give it a chance because of it.
I mean, I was really excited for it when it was announced because I missed the one in 09, and I like the Saw franchise. I do. I like gore. That was something I did not out of the house. There were some moments of gore, but for the most part, it was bizarrely not gory for a Saw house.
Yeah, I am not a gore person at all. That's just not my kind of horror. I don't particularly like to watch it. I was fine with this house. I wasn't ever really disturbed by it. Like, I don't even watch the Saw movies. They would bother me too much. But like,
pretty much the girl with her scalp cut off was the most gory thing in the
house. That was it.
Yeah, like even the guy with his intestines hanging out wasn't all that gory. I was like
the intestines were there, but they lacked a lot of blood. Overall, very much devoid of gore. This year was better. There was a lot more gore this year. There was more gore in Horror Story than there was in Saw.
Yeah,
I would agree. Oddly bloodless for being literally torture porn, you know, like that's what Saw is. But yeah,
that was kind of thing.
I don't think it deserves the hate that it gets, but it's also not near the top of my list.
I think in another year I could have liked it a lot more. It's just that everything else was so strong. And with Saw, another thing I could say in its defense, I love any type of large scale mechanical effect. And obviously there's a ton of that in Saw because the traps are all big moving things.
Absolutely.
Shout out to those actors because that was aggravating to play, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All that. So, I mean, it was not a bad house by any means. It was just trapped in a year of so it was a solid 6 trapped in a year of 9s.
Agreed. All right. Let's move on to The Fallen.
The Fallen was definitely the words. It was visually strong.
Yes.
Yeah, Fallen, I have to admit, I did not like as much as I'd hoped to.
Same.
And I feel like over the course of the run, it actually got worse.
I do have to agree with that. It just felt like every time I went through, it just felt like there were only like 5 actors every time that were really on top of their game, and everyone else was just kind of there.
Yeah, and that's
sticking their hands out without much energy.
This is another thing. You mentioned, Mel, in Festival of the Deadliest that they use too much red light. There's a case of this in this house.
Yeah. It was like Hot Topic.
It really was.
What if
the thing that made it feel like there were less actors is that there weren't that many different types of characters.
Yeah.
Demons had names. You had Fallen Prime, which was the big one on the stage. He was fully unique. He was the leader. He was great. You had, in the second room, you had the Suffering room, which was fine, but then there was another Suffering later on in the house.
Yeah, that was good.
Static Pop Sufferings. Then you had the what were they called? The Damned, who were like the ones with the boils, the victim type things.
Oh yeah, the coughing ones.
Yeah, there were so many of them. Every single stunt character was the same in this house. They were all the same name masks, the same wings. You had 3 different Hellsmiths throughout the house. which were the big chunky guys with the leather aprons.
And then you had the dark elves, or
yeah, and they were
Krampus.
Just variants on the Damned. So because they had like the same outfit but with a mask.
Yeah.
So I thought there was not enough variety in the design of the demons. If it were up to me, I would say every single one of them should have been different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think a lot of people also had skewed perspectives on this because during speculation season, this was supposed to be a crossover of Gothic and Catacombs.
And the Catacombs.
Yeah.
And so we were all expecting it to be as good as Gothic and the Catacombs.
Yeah.
Well, and then even after we got away from the Gothicombs rumor and it became angels versus demons, they pussied out and they dropped the angels aspect at the last second.
It's just kind of demons, and there's not much story behind it because they dropped it all.
Yeah, so a fun fact, a lot of the angel infrastructure was still in the house, but it was covered by things or it was literally just shoved backstage at the last second.
Oh my god.
Do we have any reason why they dropped the angels aspect?
They just got scared of religious repercussions.
Okay, because that's what I was the most in this house. I'm an angsty person.
Yeah. They were afraid that it would be taken poorly by the Christians.
That's
dumb. Oh my god, here's our time to reference it.
I got bad news for them. As someone who has grown up and is in a Christian community, they ain't going Horror Nights anyway.
And some of them are. My father is a preacher. He's a preacher. He came to Horror Nights last year and he loved it. Like,
well, I mean, I do too, and I'm a Christian, but like,
yeah,
I mean,
but like people who are not ridiculous Christians are going to be fine with that kind of thing. The concept of angels fighting demons is clearly in this sense.
Can we just have the haunted house that's Revelations with like monsters and stuff?
Oh my god!
Lord.
There's nightmare fodder in there. I promise.
The spine ripping room was supposed to be angel wings being ripped off.
Yes. Oh my god! I would have gotten my life.
Yeah,
oh my god.
She was supposed to be ripping wings off of like a suffering angel, and then they were like, no, that's too much. She's just gonna randomly rip the spine out of someone.
But angel wings, they could come off. She could give them to me. I could pin them up in my room. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Yes.
I really wanted this house to be my 90s goth kid, angsty religious kid, dreams come true, and it didn't really deliver on either of those.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
But
I just love.
But the thing I can say is that the costumes that were there, oh mama, they were so
yeah.
good.
And
Totally
the stunts were amazing.
The stunts were definitely the best part of the house, but at the same time,
that's my highlight that I wrote down with the amazing stuff.
Most every time I went through, there was always one of them missing.
Well, I think
really
a lot.
Weird.
It took a lot for them to reset. That was my only issue.
No, it was. I would look up there, and there was just nobody.
So I can explain that actually in some ways. So there's a lot of different rules when it comes to the stunt performers, how long they can be out there and how many nights they can do that. So every stunt performer for that house, one night a week, they had to be grounded. And some nights, let's say someone called out and one of them was grounded, that means that there was just nobody to go there. And that would happen all the time and also they can only be out for 20 minutes at a time instead of your normal 45. So you have twice as many cast changes with stunt performers as you do with a normal Horror Nights performer. So there's more time where they're switching out. And on top of all of that, they're in, harnesses that take time to unhook, to safely rehook the new person in. So you have long cast changes, twice as many cast changes. And on top of that, one night a week down at some point in a ground roll because you just have to preserve your body to some extent.
Right. Wow. The union rules for stunt performers are really different, but it also does take a lot more.
Yeah.
It was the most difficult. That was the most physically demanding of the stunt roles, and people generally could not do that for more than 1 or 2 nights in a row without literally just having to do something else or they were going to injure themselves.
Yeah.
The easiest was the flyer, the one that would just swoop over the top because it was just wee, wee, wee.
Yeah.
It was the easiest one. And then the fallers, who were the ones who would kind of like bungee down and then bounce back up, were somewhere in the middle. Those I heard were not too difficult. I'm obviously not the one doing it. These are stunt performers themselves.
Yeah, that would be entertaining. Flops down from the sky. You not man enough.
Oh my god. Can you imagine if I was the flyer, like the one that would swoop over the top and not man enough, my Burkina.
I like to think Hive is an experiment and that they'll take some of the better aspects of it. I think it's a house that didn't pan out the way they wanted it to as well.
Yeah.
I think they didn't. I'm not gonna. No, you need to stop avoiding blame. It didn't pan out the way they wanted it to, but they're the ones who made it not pan out.
Yeah.
They could have easily added some angel wings up in there. They could have easily given some of the masks differentiation. They could have easily given me more murder. They could have ripped my own heart out physically while as I walked through the house, and they chose not to, and that was weak of them.
Although I did get licked in the house. It's the only house this year I got licked in.
That's true. The blacksmith kept blowing in the back of my neck, and honestly, bless.
Yes, I love that. And also, when I got were you there, Connie, for the shaking?
Yes.
Just grab my shoulders and
like the sequel to The Shining.
He just shook
sorry,
me
I had
to... while he shook me, and it was really funny. And he asked me the next day if I liked what he did, and I said, yeah, it had me shook.
Oh my gosh. All right. Fallen. Fun times. Wish it could have been something else, but it wasn't, and it was pretty cool for what it was.
It was still good, though. I didn't
like
it at all. I just thought it could have been even more.
Any other year, that house would be, top of the list.
Yeah.
But I don't really think I saw it top of anybody's list except a couple of my personal friends.
I never saw it near the top of anyone's. Yeah.
Me either.
It would get, I think the highest I saw was a 4 or 3, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Okay, so last but not least, we have Blumhouse.
Oh, I was so hyped for this house, mostly because I am a slut for Sinister. I was so excited to see it finally come, and then it was 2 rooms.
Yeah.
They were 2 very good rooms, but it was literally 2 rooms.
Yeah.
And then, as I love to call this house, a salute to all Blumhouse movies, but mostly Insidious.
Yep. There it is.
But on top of that, mostly Insidious 4 that nobody has seen.
It made absolutely no sense at all. I was I went and watched the trailer because I was I might as well know what's going on. And then there was nothing from the trailer.
Yeah.
It was bullshit from the actual movie. And I was what the fuck is going on?
Granted, when we go see Insidious 4 and then we go back in time to redo the house, I'm sure it's going to be great. But
till then.
Shout out to Blumhouse, though. Okay, so actually, here's something. I want to say this first before I forget about it. And I did not even realize that this was a visual trend in this house until after Horror Nights ended. Or no, maybe it was the last week. Shadows. The use of shadows in this house. There were so many scenes where you would round a corner and you would see someone's shadow before you would see the scare.
True.
I do like that.
Do you know in Purge when there was a shadow of a guy beating someone over the logo?
Mm-hmm.
That's a real person. That was not a projection.
Yep.
For real?
Scare. He was supposed to stand in a certain spot, do the shadow, and then come out and do his scare. And then you also had the shadow of the guy that would call you a bitch, which I think was hilarious. Fuck yes in a house where he'd come out and go, you bitch! Fucking amazing. I love that.
What a dream. Dream roll.
Also getting called a pussy. This year was good on the swearing. I was a fan of that.
Yeah, we got swearing this year.
So I loved that they had the balls to have that trigger of him coming. I don't remember what the first part of his trigger was, but it ended with him pulling up the cane and going, you bitch! And I was like, yes, I am a bitch. Beat me, daddy. And then I liked all the shadows. There were so many good visual moments. The long haul with the bagools. Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Fuck yes, that was gorgeous.
The bagool makeup and costume were really good this year.
That one in Insidious where there was one. It was a U-turn shaped room, and there were fluttering sheets in the middle, like sheets of plastic.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
At one deep side of there. 2 things about this. First off, amazing setup to have 4 different scares from one guy.
Yeah.
Second, that one sheet of plastic that was attached to the bottom, and he would put his hands against it, you would just see the silhouette.
Yeah, but the problem was, by the end of the run, they nailed most of those sheets down. So he couldn't use half of them.
Wait, really?
Yeah. The last few times I went through, it was all shuttered down, and he could only use 2 of the sheets.
Oh, that's dumb.
It was stupid.
I loved Well, I love towards the middle of the run when he could use all the sheets, but then there was the one that was tied down so he could do the silhouette thing because that was gorgeous. And this is such a tiny detail, but just that visual of a swinging single hanging light bulb, that's a good bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good.
Very consistent in its color palette as well. That whole house was some shade of like blue, green, gray.
Yeah. But
it was very
of course, then you hit the end and everything is a bright ass green.
Yeah.
Strobe.
I was about to say, as someone who's not overly fond of strobe scares, this house was full of them.
Yeah, it was the stroby hell house.
There were also several moments in the house where you could see very clearly behind people's boo holes into backstage.
True.
I didn't.
Distracting.
That must have been. Yeah. Would you guys? I know Hollywood got Happy Death Day as one of their sections in the house instead of Insidious, full Insidious house. Would you guys have liked to have seen that?
I would have.
I want to see the movie
instead of Purge.
Because I was about to say we already had Purge in our event as well.
Yeah.
I would have taken Happy Death Day over Purge, just because Purge was present in multiple places in the street.
Yeah. Purge needed to chill at this year's event. But like at the same time, I would have wanted to see something else there, but in reality, I wish that when they had to drop Ouija, they had just made it more sinister instead of something else.
Right, it was supposed to be Ouija.
Yep, it was supposed to be Ouija. Oh, I mean, you can literally look at that first scene and it's straight out of Ouija. But fucking Hasbro.
I forgot about that.
They just planted random...
Haribo?
Oh, Hasbro. That's why they couldn't do it.
Sure.
The company that owns the actual Ouija game, like Ouija boards, they wouldn't let them use it.
Sure.
That's a real thing, yeah. I forgot that this was a year of like almost dropped or dropped IPs.
Yeah.
Like there were so many.
I have faith that we'll get Conjuring eventually.
Someday.
Yeah. Hopefully.
And like I have some faith if is there any other Sinister movies in the works?
Probably not. Because the second one didn't do very well.
The second one really killed the momentum.
If it ever came out, I could definitely see a full Sinister house coming.
That'd be cool.
That would be awesome. I loved that section. So, and the movie's pretty good too.
Oh my god! Shout out to Baby Director. I'm gonna make the best one yet.
Yes. Baby
Paulo. Wannabe Paulo Ravinsky.
Oh. That was the one thing in Saw that always made me laugh was the bathtub scene.
Yep.
And I was just like, that's cute.
You want those pictures, bitches?
Seen that before. Yeah. Do y'all remember when we almost didn't get The Shining, where they like delayed it for like a million years?
Yeah.
And then we lost like 3 other IPs. So.
One other thing about Blumhouse, the facade, the projections on the facade were really cool.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
I love that shit.
The only thing about the facade I don't like is that there was a light bulb hanging from a drawing and a projection of a light bulb that was off-centered. Why?
Yeah.
The string was coming out of the bulb.
I was also like, why couldn't they just put like a actual mirror? If you're gonna put a fake mirror up there,
and an actual
put a real mirror.
Sit on it.
Yeah, put an actual chair. Let me sit in it.
Let me sit. I'm tired.
Hurt.
Y'all know the guests would have done that though.
Yep.
I mean, considering that people actually pissed in the urinals in Ash vs. Evil Dead, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh my god.
On multiple occasions too.
Really?
It was like an actual problem was that drunk people would go and actually take a piss in the urinals in the bathroom scene.
That's too much.
Yeah, that's crazy.
There was so much about that scene I didn't know, though. Like, I did not understand how, like, intricate the amount of liquid in the scare to the right with Ash was.
Mm-hmm.
That he was literally wearing a wetsuit.
I didn't know that.
That's insane.
Yeah, so Connie, the reason that shower thing was behind glass, I was literally never able to tell this visually, which sucks. I'll have to go through and watch videos and see if I can even figure out what was supposed to, like, like if it was happening the way it's been described to me. But it was a jet of red water that would come up out of the bot. He would have to block it with his chainsaw from getting into his mouth.
Ew.
He was wearing a wetsuit under his costume, and he was drenched after every set.
That is insane.
Like, it was a full water scare. It was more of a water scare than the fucking Walking Dead pools were.
Oh my god.
Okay,
We don't speak of it.
Every behind the scenes thing I hear about this house now just absolutely kills me. Like last week I found out that the name on the call sheet for one of the Ashes is literally just straight up Buttman Ash.
Oh fuck yeah, that's hilarious.
Buttman?
Buttman Ash.
Not the butt, not the butt.
Yes.
So,
all right, so
water scare, amazing. I had no idea that was actual liquid that was going on in there. I thought it was just strobing lights. And that is the only house this year that had a mic'd actor who was being paid more for vocal performance.
Oh yeah.
Crazy.
This, the head, the girlfriend of the head in the Vice, she was talking.
What?
That would explain why.
She would
What?
talk.
Oh my god!
I'm so
She called me a lesbian one night and I thought it was pre-recorded! I'm so happy to know she was actually calling me a lesbian.
That's amazing.
She was actually calling you a lesbian. That was an actress making $5 an hour more than the rest of us because she was speaking. I had no fucking idea.
Oh my god!
Known because I would have interacted with her so much more.
I know, I would have
That's incredible.
Yeah, they should advertise that. They should be like, Ash versus Evil Dead.
We have
Featuring actual talking person.
Just kidding. That's good.
Communicate. Huh?
So yeah,
I said Ash versus Evil Dead, get shit on, and I meant verbally, but then I remembered to get physically shit on in Scarecrow.
You're right.
if you're looking for shit, you knew where to come.
Okay, well that concludes our roundup of all the houses.
I love how we ended it with a shit reference.
Of course, I can't say it was a shitty year. It was great, but
It was a great year. Although my time was quite shitty smelling at the very least.
that's true. There were a lot of shit-related scares. We had this Twitter conversation the other day.
Yes.
Okay.
A lot of poop this year. A lot of pigs, a lot of poop.
So, if y'all have any quick thoughts on Academy of Villains, now's the time.
10 out of 10, 100%. Okay. Yeah, same.
I cannot applaud them enough for how much effort they put in this year.
Yeah.
They created an entire show from the base up, and then they had to scrap it, dance on a entirely new stage with an entirely new show they threw together in 2 days with clothes from Target, and they killed it.
Yeah.
Every time.
Seriously, said Afterlife was scrapped. I was like, I'm not even going to bother seeing Academy of Villains. Why would I? Like, this isn't what I came here for. This isn't what I wanted. This isn't what people paid for. I was never upset at Academy of Villains. More than anything, I was upset with Universal for not finding a way to put on the show that people wanted. And then and I finally watched it, and I was like, Jesus Christ. It's still, if this is what it showed, okay. So if we had no prerequisites with what the show was last year, and this year's show is just what appeared, I would have been so content by it. If it wasn't for the fact that I knew what they were capable of with budget and with large stage, I would never have had a negative thought about this year's show whatsoever. It was fantastic.
Absolutely.
So true. I mean,
Darcy and I have a special sisterhood.
right, you guys danced with them.
Dance-off performers.
Oh, yeah.
So
Darcy had like 5 minutes of fame during the event,
Oh,
too.
yeah. God, that was wild. Everybody started recognizing me as, holy shit, the Irish dancer that danced with Academy of Villains, which meant a lot of weird interactions with people yelling at me across restaurants. And also multiple people in Invasion attempting to Irish dance in front of me. Because one of them found the video, the one I'm the closest friends with. He found the video and he started doing it. Then he started sharing it with everyone else, and everyone else started doing it.
That's so
Invasion
funny.
is
It was wild.
I loved AOV. They were just so high energy. They're so entertaining. I liked this last year, but you were able to be even closer to them this year than last year. And I liked they were all so characterized. It was like any of them could have been doing a solo. They put into their face and their movements. So I just thoroughly enjoyed it, as always. And they were so nice. I'm sure, Darcy, you had the same experience. But like, when they pulled you up, they were so fucking nice.
I know. I was talking with I know what his name is, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. But he was like, "Yeah, you'd better be good at this. You made me pick you." And I was like,
I was on the opposite side of you, but it was the one that would do like the nunchuck swirl.
Oh my god, he's my favorite.
Yeah,
on the first night of Horror Nights, I watched the show from the side of the stage, and he runs down after the show, runs up to me, screams, "I'm not supposed to be talking right now," pulls me into a hug, and runs away.
Well, that's amazing.
I was like,
I love it.
Oh my god.
I also just want to give a huge shout out to the contortionist they had. He was amazing.
Oh.
Yes.
The voodoo pain. Oh my god, so cool.
My favorite thing about him is at the end of his number, the makeup that was originally on his neck would be on his ankles.
Oh yeah.
I know.
Oh my god. But seriously though, the stage lighting up there was like hellfire.
It was so hot.
It was so hot. I was dying after 2 minutes. And
they were in long sleeves, gloves, and pants.
Yes.
And makeup on your face, it makes you hot too.
Yeah.
Corpse paint is really.
I'm like, how are you not passed out?
Like I have never just not seen them on. Like so like on fire.
Yeah. Like I don't think they ever had an off show. Like I've had an off run of houses before where people just were off their game. Never AOV.
Never them.
Seriously, I cannot emphasize enough how much I hope they continue coming back to Horror Nights.
Mm-hmm.
I think
they're incredible.
I don't doubt they'll be back, honestly.
They have
for many years.
Despite what some fans may say, I think they have the potential to become as iconic for the event as Bill and Ted.
Absolutely.
100% agree.
Yes. Bill and Ted, I think, has run its course. Academy of Villains, I could watch them for another 15 fucking years and never get tired of it.
Let's do it. Let's go right now.
Let's pay them. Let's pay them in.
Francis, if you're listening, please make this happen. 15 more. Even people like even at one point I was like, oh, maybe not for 30 we'd have another big show. No, fuck that. How about like a Jack and Chance style show with Academy of Villains included?
Yes. Literally, I want them to stay around so long that all their children start doing the show.
Please, Academy of Villains minis.
I know. There was a rumor that I'm like 80% sure wasn't true for 26, where if people balked at Academy of Villains and like it got low ratings, they were gonna add Chance in. And I could never feel like that. It was like I could never. What?
I don't think so.
Me neither. But I would love to see them come up with like an icon show. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, I would love
absolutely.
To, but honestly, like I'm so sad we didn't get Afterlife this year. But I really hope next year we get another big scale show like that because it was like life changing.
A perfect tie-in.
It was, yeah. Mm-hmm. I know Afterlife would have been the same for this year. We just never got it. But still, I just
yeah, Afterlife definitely would have been the cohesion I was looking for.
Yeah.
But I love Academy of Villains. I want them back forever, and I think they are 100% in line with what Horror Nights is supposed to be.
Exactly.
They are fun. They are high energy. It is a Halloween party in a bottle.
I agree, for sure.
Yes.
Nothing but good things to say about them. And you guys were fabulous dancers, too.
Thank you.
So good.
Okay, so I didn't pull any muscles as a character, but I pulled a muscle dancing.
Amazing. I still think the highlight of that night for me was the guy behind my mom when I was about to go, and he goes, "Oh my God, she has tap shoes. She has fucking tap shoes." And I'm like, you go, dude.
Okay.
I just enjoyed being the token sexually confident fat woman up against the sexually confident skinny woman and then winning.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Very fucking satisfying. Watching the video afterwards and seeing that like she spent most of her dance showing off her abdomen, and I was just up there like shaking my ass and doing the whatever that dance is, that the Carlton, like
Yeah.
Carlton.
it was great. I just love that I won because I had a feeling I would. There's something inherently funny and entertaining about a fat woman that just does things.
We deserved it, man.
Yeah.
All right,
It's
so I'm gonna
true.
try and get this wrapped up before 9:30.
Oh.
So
You mean?
I know it's not 9:30 yet where I live. Y'all are an hour ahead of me.
Okay, I was like,
Yeah, I was like, it's 10:05 here.
Not in Nashville, y'all. Do y'all want to get into Bill and Ted or no?
I will say this one thing.
Yeah,
This is the first year I've actually enjoyed the show.
Really?
I hated it every other year I've gone to see it.
I'm the exact opposite. This is my least favorite of the shows I've seen. I thought it sucked. I loved being at the very last one. That was a lot of fun because it was well written. It was a lot of fun because it was the last one and they were dicking around.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Segments and they brought in characters that had never been in the show before. So, but I thought the writing was. I can't explain why. Luster to me. I enjoyed last year's a lot. I liked Bill and Ted a lot last year. This year, the first time I saw it, I was like, yeah, it was all right. Second time, I was like, oh, I don't even, like, halfway through, I kind of wanted to leave. I would never do that. But I was like, I almost wish I'd just gone and done more houses instead of this. Like, it just didn't, it didn't tickle my funny bone. I don't know what it was. I feel like there was a lot of missed opportunity. Like, okay, my biggest thing with Bill and Ted this year is they had two options. They either could have gone full self-referential for the final show, or they go their standard pop culture roast. They tried to do both, and I don't think it worked.
Yeah,
that's true.
References to Trump and American Airlines in the same scene as Dr. Evil and
United
a bunch of old
Airlines,
characters.
you mean?
Okay, it felt confusing.
That is true.
So either you're gonna jerk off your fanboys, or you're gonna do what you always do. You kind of have to choose.
Yeah, and a lot of the references they made didn't make any sort of sense in context. Like the whole Rocket Raccoon section was stupid.
Literally made no sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, the line, "Oh, it's a trash panda," like that was funny. But
like the only part of that I ever found funny was when he would ask him what the button was, and he'd immediately point to his crotch.
Yeah.
That was it.
The Trash Panda line was in Guardians of the Galaxy too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That was like literally just a line from the movie.
Yeah, and it's just a meme in general. But like, I felt like a lot. Yeah, I totally agree. A lot of the references were just like, well, I'm glad this is here, but why is it happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they've done that in the past. Like, I don't remember. I haven't seen this year's show because no one's uploaded it yet. But I don't typically spend a lot of time watching them anyway. But I remember like one time. I don't remember which show it was, but they had like Tina from Bob's Burgers appear like
last year.
Super brief. It was last year?
Yeah.
Okay, and
it was the year before. It was 25.
Okay. I don't remember. But I just remember like they had her like show up for like 3 seconds and then like leave, and it made no sense.
Honestly, that was my favorite part of that show because she came out as a Tinder match with Christian Grey.
Oh.
And she like so that was actually my favorite part of that show because Christian Grey comes out and he's like, oh, I'm even striking out on Tinder, and then he got a match and he was wearing a tear-off suit, so he tore off his suit and underneath he's wearing like leather underwear and a harness. He just reaches up and he rubs his nipples and he went, oh, and it was really funny. Like his timing with the tearaway suit was great, and then he like read the Tinder match and it said, oh, I'm young, I work in my dad's burger shop, and I love butts. And then out came Tina.
Amazing.
I just thought it was really funny. And she had a whip, and she would whip Christian Grey, and I thought it was great.
That's wild.
That is wild.
To me, that was a better constructed series of jokes involving multiple franchises and references than pretty much anything that I saw this year.
The one joke that I'm really aware of from this year's was the Moana parody.
Oh, yeah. The Moana parody that I heard like 5 million times a night.
Yeah.
Like leading up to the event. Yeah.
Bricks blow. I get it.
I
heard it too.
I'm a girl, you're a boy, Bell Apartments behind me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all got to listen to that so many times.
I did
like. It's gonna sound like totally like millennial, but Moana came out in November of last year,
Yeah.
Almost like to have it doesn't feel topical anymore.
Yes, absolutely.
Agreed. I like the water.
Yeah, that's funny with the
And I like
streamers.
that at the very last show there were 2 waters
yeah,
instead of just the one. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't blown away. I thought the Justin Bieber Spanish song part was kind of funny.
Yeah, those were good. I liked Death.
Death was the best part of the show.
Oh yeah, everything about Death was good. Also, I thought the sexy cosplayers, that was funny. I liked that as a concept for the sexy dancers, and I liked what they were.
Oh
I
yeah,
thought they
the tearaway for the 11th Doctor costume to the TARDIS corset was my favorite thing
It was
ever.
fantastic.
That sounds funny. Okay.
I also liked sexy Aquaman. She was my favorite one.
Yeah.
Also, sexy R2D2 or sexy R2D2 is
Yes. Okay, so Bill and Ted, goodbye forever.
Rip in
Sorry.
pieces.
You'll be missed in theory, not so much in practice.
That's a good way to
Fair.
put it.
Yeah.
So to end
also
the
think-
night, hopefully, I'm not sure.
Some people who are not even getting their frequent fears anymore because there's no more Bill and Ted.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
someone
Leave them to me.
with
shorten the lines for the rest of us.
That laughs at legitimately
he told me, he
years.
said, yeah, this is my last year for frequent fear. I'm not even going to get rush of fear anymore.
Good Lord.
He'll probably come 2 nights to see everything, and that'll be it.
Okay.
That's
Whatever.
incredibly disrespectful to the rest of the event, honestly.
It's exactly how I felt. I was actually kind of upset at him. I was like, oh, okay. You don't have to come see me.
Yeah, that really disregards the work of a lot of other people. Bill and Ted is literally like 5 to 8% of the event.
Basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so to wrap up, what is one thing you'd like to see return from this year, one thing you never want to see again, and a dream property for next season?
Okay.
I'll go first. I have mine together.
Yeah.
Okay.
So something I'd like to see come back. Honest to God, I would love, besides Academy of Villains, who should come back for the rest of eternity.
Yeah.
I would love to see Trick or Treat back in some capacity. It's just
How?
big
House.
heart for me.
Great.
House.
Yes.
Trick or Treat house would be super interesting. I was initially worried that they wouldn't get in all the material I wanted as a scare zone. Turns out they crushed it. So yeah, it'd be cool that as a house or a zone again. I mean, I don't think we should see it every year, but I would like to see it again.
Agreed.
One thing I never want to see again, I'm gonna have to say an Altars of Horror style experience. That was terrible.
Yeah.
That one for me. Or also, I don't ever want to see like a Festival of the Deadliest style disaster where they don't roll it out until like week 6.
Yeah.
They need to be hurricanes be banned. They need to be ready.
I mean, when you boil it down, we just never want to see a hurricane again.
No
That's
more
true.
hurricanes. Goddamn Universal, get on this.
Yeah. Especially like I feel so bad for actors that have to run around in the dark.
Yeah.
So all of us.
Well, but on purpose though. Like, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. No props, no nothing.
Yeah.
And my dream property for next season is if I could pick an original IP to come back, I've been saying it for like 3 years. The day Nightingale comes back is the day I move to Orlando for September and October. Give it to me. I think it's high time we see one of 21's houses back at the event.
Agreed.
Any of them, honestly. Though.
Any of them. I would be so hyped for any of them.
Yeah, though I do feel like the one with the best chance of coming back is HR Blood and Guts.
Woo!
That too. That one.
I would love to see Blood and Guts back.
Daddy
But Nightingales also would work in any time period, so they could literally get like, let's do it in this one, you know? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
there's such a good
they better
factor
do it
there.
before. They better do it before Russell gets too fucking tired.
Yes, absolutely.
Told me multiple times that he would absolutely love to do it again.
Yes.
Good.
Blood and guts.
Commit to
When
the
I
dick.
mentioned that it was blood and guts, he was so shook. He's like, I didn't think anybody knew I did that. And I was like, of course I know you did that. That's how I know who you are in the first place.
Also, speaking of committing to the dick, I need Universal to commit to an icon.
Yeah.
I need them to
Yes.
say we have one or we don't.
Yeah.
So commit to the dick.
This year was a very bizarre, like, pussyfooting around the issue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I felt the same way about Chance because they always would stuff her somewhere she didn't belong. Like she was not front and center at all.
Chance was, I don't know, I really think Chance was an okay icon. She just didn't have anything to do with the other houses.
Yeah.
But she was relatively present in the marketing. She was on most of the merch. She
It
had
was
her
the
own
same
zone
problem
and her
Lady
own-
Luck had. She was just kind of there, but not there enough.
I would agree.
Yes.
More there. I demand.
Okay, well, I think I can go now.
Okay.
Something I want to see back. I want to see Horror Story back. I have no shame in that. I would play Kathy Bates again, and I probably will at some point. So, to see that, there's just something. And again, this is. I come from a very specific angle with this, but there is a feeling that I get when I hear that American Horror Story theme that literally no other music in the world can instill in me. Yeah. I'm not saying there's anybody else. That means Horror Nights more to me than anything else in the fucking world. Duh! Dun dun! And I mean, I'm biased. It's because I've lived with that music for 2 years now. But to me, that is Horror Nights. That music at the event forever. So that's that for that. Things I never want to see again. Purge. I'm kind of.
That's reasonable.
Yeah.
We're all a little burnt
I'm
out.
a bit purged out.
Yeah, here's the thing. I thoroughly enjoyed the movies. I only watched the movies for the first time before this season. I liked all of them more than I expected to.
Yeah, they were great.
I loved the scare zone, but I just think good on the purge.
We don't need another Walking Dead where it's just the same thing every single time and they just keep doing it.
Yes, because it's easy to do, honestly. The
American
Purge
Horror
is
Story at least has variety. Every
Yes,
season's
every
different.
different.
You have the opportunity to do different things, but with Purge and with Walking Dead, it's the same thing every time
Agreed.
in slightly different environments.
Absolutely agreed. Loved the zone this year. I mean, I went to 24, but I only went one night, so it was great to get to spend a lot more time in a Purge scare zone. But overall, just I think it is deserving of a much.
We can take a break.
Yeah. Maybe when Purge 12 comes out, we can have it back or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Make it until the end of time.
Dream IP for next year. Well, to be perfectly honest, my dream IP of all time was The Shining, so I feel sort of lost in this regard. There's nothing else I can say. Like, I would literally, lose myself if this ever came to the event because it's happened now. Pink Floyd's The Wall is a huge dream IP for me, but I know that it is so out of left field that it will never happen.
Mm-hmm.
As far as a realistic IP I really want to see next year, or IP, not even IP, just thing, an original thing, or anything, I don't know. It's just something I want to see next year. I know this is basic, and they've done this kind of thing before, but I would love a proper classic Universal Monster House.
Oh, for sure.
That would be awesome.
Like All Night Die-In, but a house.
Yes.
But not All Night Die-In with the
cool.
director, or All Night Die-In just with black and white horror characters. I would love
Yes.
that. Or like that segment in that was just the classic monsters. I want a whole house of that.
Yes.
That'd be so wonderful. Yeah, I completely agree.
That would be very cool.
I would love to see some more love for them. Also, I know we didn't mention it earlier, but I would love to see character dining get better.
Yes. It was so great the first year, and then it just kind of went downhill.
Yes, I think
Like the first year.
Not that it was bad this year. Again, these are all performers that I know because they all hung out with us in the same break space.
Yeah.
But even they agreed that it was a bizarre assortment of characters and not people really worth paying $50 to see.
Yeah.
I was about to say, there's no interaction there like there is like with Chance. She'll sit down and talk to you.
Yeah, with Chance, she would talk to you. With 25, they had 2 icons in there.
Right.
as well as characters from the houses. And there's no real selling point this year. The coolest person in there was Sam.
I agree.
And Sam you could see heavily in the street, so
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't special.
yeah, it was. I mean, they had that guy from Festival of the Deadliest. Granted, I loved him because he had a whip and he would whip it and do this sexy cat noise. But again, it was him being a great performer, not having a great character.
Yeah.
And then you had Sam. You had a Purger. You had that weird random.
Yeah, freaking Igor. He's not in anything at the event. Why is he there?
What?
Excellent performer who did a great job, but why? Why was he there?
I
Wait,
don't know. There was someone who was like supposed to be some weird version of Igor from like Frankenstein.
It was like steampunk Igor.
I don't know why he was there.
I'm gonna be
supposed
real
to be
with
like
you
the
guys.
host
I
of
thought
the
you said
dinner.
Eeyore, like the Winnie the Pooh character, and I was like, why?
Eeyore, yes. Eeyore was there, and he was so
House and
sad all the
Rocket
time.
Experience. That was the upcharge this year.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I would really like to see them bring character dining back to what it was at 25, where you have cornerstone characters for the year there, so that you're really getting your money's worth. Also, I just wish they had more.
Yeah.
There's only like 4 or 5, and again, you're paying a lot, and it's not. The Disney character dining normally has more than that, so
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the only one that doesn't have more than that is Bon Voyage, and everything else has at least 6 characters.
yeah. So I would like to see that. Like this year, if I had built a character dining roster, I would have included Sam. I would have had someone from Horror Story.
Bloody Face, probably.
You could, or maybe Papa Legba. He would have been good too.
Bloody Face is a bit more iconic, though.
I agree, but Papa Legba could have had some verbal interaction.
Yes,
say,
that would have been excellent.
Yeah, if they were allowed to do that, because the Papa Legba would occasionally speak in the street, which I think is really pushing it. But
yeah, Sam, obviously.
Yeah, Sam.
I think you'd have to keep a Purger in there, but
agreed.
I feel like Lady Liberty would have been a good option.
Yes, I think Lady Liberty, and I think one of the scientist aliens should have been there.
There should have been an alien in there in the first place. Like over in La Bamba for VIP, they had one of the brutes.
You know what?
They should have had at least something.
They should have had one character from every zone, and then the entire cast of Ulcers of Horror.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, like.
Other than the Purgers and Altars.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what? I wish my dream had been a reality where I got to do character dining.
Wasn't that the dream where you were also missing parts of your costume and went out on set missing parts of your costume?
I don't want that part because I showed up. I'm standing in Monsters trying to like act, and I realize I'm not wearing my wig, and I burst into tears. Cap in my dress. I would just love to do character dining as any character because I want that extended interaction. Oh my god, please get me out of a house. I don't want to be in a house anymore.
You don't want to be there anymore?
I don't want to be here anymore.
Too bad.
You'll never want to leave.
Shut up.
Okay, children, let's keep it rolling. We got 7 minutes.
All right, okay. So things I'd want to see back. Obviously, I'd like to see them extend on Dead Waters because I love the Bayou thing. I'd love to see Sinister back. Mostly personal, I want Invasion back. I want it back now. I miss it so much. I'm literally going to go over to Universal on Friday, sit where the spaceship was, and cry.
Sweet.
Dream IPs for next year. Oh, things I don't ever want to see again. I'm so done with The Purge.
Yeah.
It's really overplayed by now, and I'm done with it. Dream IPs for next year. I want to see it. I know it's cliche. I know everybody wants to see it, but like, it actually has really good potential to be an amazing house. And if they can work out their issues with Stephen King, then it would be really good for both ends. Like, Horror Nights would basically guarantee themselves a 2-year IP, and Warner Brothers would have free marketing.
True. Well, free, but
They would bring a shit ton of people to the event.
Oh yeah.
It would be like what Horror Story was last year.
For sure.
Numbers, I guarantee it. It would be the one with the 200-minute waits. It would be nuts.
Oh,
I haven't
yeah.
even seen it yet, but it has crazy popular reception. So
That was easily the most popular thing this year.
oh yeah, horror-wise, but yes.
Okay.
Yep.
all right. Does that mean me?
And then
you.
yeah,
Okay,
one more person.
one more person. Please don't forget I exist.
Connie's not a person.
Oh,
Connie's Satan himself.
okay, I'll take it. I think something I definitely want to see back is Dead Waters, but not in the. I mean, like one, yes, give me more boats, but two, and I love facades. Listen, don't laugh at my boat love.
Boat the house. That's what Connie does.
I want to be able to explore and re-explore decrepit places over and over again in the safety of my own haunted house. Okay,
Yes.
but more precisely, I would love to, details. I would love to see more bric-a-brac. I would love to see more just a hodgepodge of little bits and pieces around a house that make it look like a thing that people actually use and experience.
Yeah.
Like my one problem with The Shining is in the hotel there was a pamphlet holder with no pamphlets in it. Bitch, put some pamphlets up in there.
Okay, but
Yeah.
after
This is a
the
hotel.
off season and the hotel is closed, that's why there's no pamphlets.
But why would it be up there on that counter? I don't understand. Listen, I just want more details.
For the off season because they put new pamphlets in when they come back in the spring.
Listen, I'm just saying. I want more details. I want like if they have one. Why do they only have one pamphlet holder then? Why is there nothing else on the counter? Why is there only pamphlet holder? Why is there no telephone? Why is there no like pen or bell? They put all that stuff away, but they couldn't put away the empty pamphlet holder. I'm very poor planning on the hotel's part. The Overwatch would not be happy.
Overwatch Hotel.
Yes.
Overwatch Hotel.
This just disturbing amount of lack of cleaning up as they left the hotel. But I want more details in the house. More like tangible evidence of usage in this fabricated fictional area. What I don't want is the bride in black. I mean, I love her. Parker Crane is honestly like goals, but the way they portray the bride in black is so disturbing to me. I was at a con once and I saw a single man who's in real life like a surfer dude dressed as the bride in black, and it was just like
That's hilarious.
So
Oh
good.
my god.
So
It's
good.
like this. God,
good.
all that reminds me of is that one time when I was at Denver Comic Con and we were walking down the mall that's by the convention center, and past us rolls a guy dressed as Valak from The Conjuring on a hoverboard. Just rolling along.
Oh my gosh.
That's amazing. Yeah, I have to.
That's the upcharge
Bride in
experience.
Black is very poorly presented at Horror Nights overall.
Yeah, but it makes me angry because I've seen a better like I know it's possible. I know it's possibly be done by I don't know this person, but
Okay,
an amateur,
just
not a movie
with
studio.
Overwatch Hotel. That would be the Overlook Hotel. You video game nerds.
Did I call it Overwatch?
You said Overwatch.
The Overwatch Hotel.
God damn it!
Yeah.
I don't even play video games. No, my brain was trying so hard not to say Overdrive, which is the
First Stephen King
electronic
movie.
library system we use at work. So
Oh, we had that one too. But it's also Stephen King's worst movie.
It's a great service. You can check out library books electronically on your phone. You can download them to the app. You can read them on the go. It's really easy and simple.
Okay.
All you have to do is use your prior code number and your last name, and you're on. As long as your library subscribes.
Actually, I'd love to see a haunted house set in a library.
That would be so cool.
That would be cool.
My IP, though, I know I've said this before, I want fucking Dark Shadows. I want the 1960s, the 1960s soap opera, not the Johnny Depp one, not the one with Adrian Paul. Though I do love me some Highlander, don't get me wrong. But I really want to see Phoenix. I want to see a West Wing. I want to see like a werewolfized version of the Picture of Dorian Gray. Like, listen, they stole so much from old horror movies. It would be so easy to just take all that shit and put it into a house.
That would be amazing.
Agreed. And if they weren't already in cahoots with Disney, I think Twilight Zone would make an awesome house as well.
Oh,
For
yeah,
sure.
that would be really cool.
Ooh, that reminds me. Can I change my thing I want to see next year?
Yeah.
I guess if you have to.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is something I've been thinking about for ages and I just keep forgetting. I want Psycho back. I want proper Norman Bates.
Oh, yeah.
That would be very cool.
That would be really cool.
Mashup would be fantastic, and I do think that is on the horizon eventually. I could absolutely see The Birds, Vertigo. There's a lot that they could use, but easily they could do an entire house on Psycho, and I would like to see them do that because I feel like right now Horror Nights is in a good place with IPs. They're doing such a good job with them. The last time they touched Psycho and Norman, show us on the doll, Norman, where Horror Nights touched you. The last time that they dealt with Psycho, their IP game like they are nowadays.
I would agree for sure, yeah.
I would love to see
the
them
care and attention they place on IPs now is incredible.
I want the facade to be the house. I want to be in the bathtub. I want all of it.
Put me in the bathtub.
You want to be Janet Leigh. That's who you want to be cast.
That's the
Why is it
upcharge
that all of the
experience.
men that I love do
You
that?
literally get murdered in the bathtub.
Please strike me down with your long blade style.
Why do all the murderous men I love use bathtubs?
Well, that shows more about you, I think, than them.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I need to kink
I
shame
like to be
you,
clean
Melody.
and I like to be dead.
Oh,
In the bath. And in the bath. Relaxing in the bath. Bath bombs. Death. Perfect combo.
we need to sign off before it gets sexual.
Oh, dang.
Okay,
the best
so that's our 27 postmortem. We only took 2.5 hours. Cool.
Woo. I thought it'd
some
take
more
longer,
time.
honestly. I thought we'd have to split it into 2 episodes.
We
You can't
fucking
make me
nailed it,
stop
you guys.
I'm not trying to call out any other Horror Nights podcast, but there's one that last year had a 7-hour post HHN 26 episode. So
I remember that. And I don't wish to remember it anymore. I made it through 4 of those hours and they were excruciating.
yeah, because I wasn't on them.
That's true. All right, so let's sign off before we slander any more people. Stay weird,
yes.
spooky, get creative. Bye, y'all.
Green is not a creative color. Follow me at none of the places. This is Connie Wayne signing off. I should have just said my last name, god damn it.
No one heard it.
Oh, good.